And folks, welcome in. Thank you so very much for being here on this wonderful Weasel Wednesday. How's it going, everybody? How's it going? Omni, what's going on?
Hello, everyone. I'm the last Omnitech, your favorite robot American, and welcome to Mouse Guard the Frontier, our pint-sized adventure into the wild. So, who wants to do a quick recap of what happened over the past couple of sessions for our usual either persona or fate point? Take your choice. Who wants to go first?
I think I went first last time.
We made our way ahead of the Mouse Guard actually to a small-ish, maybe not small, but not the largest settlement around, called Vinecrawl. It is ruled over by a hawk lord whose name escapes me presently. I know something with a T. Seer.
Seer.
Seer. I remembered. We snuck in to Vinecrawl. Sayana used not festival, but like festivities as a means of like, yeah, we got all this stuff that we got to get rid of, so let's party. And so they let her in, and then Dukan and his crew snuck up the trees, skittered on up to the tallest watchtower, and knocked out some of the watchmen up there. Interrogated them, found out that the Hawk Lord's actually a pretty good guy. He's just kind of under like a curse. So Dukan snuck down to where he was out in this like open area and met with Sayana, and they were like, okay, change of plans. So we're not going to assassinate this guy. And Sayana was like, yeah, cool. I'm good with that. I didn't want to assassinate the guy either. I was like, all right, cool. So we ended up going out in the open and calling this guy out in a way that I was pretty smart about it. I called him out in a way that was like about his people. And he was like, yeah, no, I'll fight. I'll fight for my people. And I was like, so okay, cool. So we all like kind of hung out and decided that we were gonna kind of 1v1 the raid boss instead of bringing the armies necessarily. And then we decided, no, we're gonna die. We have to bring the armies. And that's where I'll hand it off to Natalie.
It was, I asked you to go first because I can't remember how the last session began, and you didn't cover any of the last session.
Oh, okay. We fought the hawk and we won. And
that was the session before that.
Then we picked out our units. We were told that we were elevated in ranks and that we needed to prepare our own tortoises, and we were given some specifications to choose from. So we made some decisions about what we wanted to bring. We all ranked up, and Dukan was named a Weasel Lord.
There is a little more to that. Something did happen at the beginning of the session, which I will.
That's the part you covered the part that I remember, not the part that I can't
I will
remember.
give you a hint then, because also Derek, obviously take your fate or your persona, your choice. Gesundheit. Natalie, my clue would be you saw smoke rising in the distance.
Oh, yeah. It turns out while we were fighting Seer, there was another battle going on, bless you. Back at Vinecrawl, it seems that they were attacked by some of the fox mice, the mice who live in the fox realm. And they were very mean and hurled a fireball at one of our turtles, which sadly did not survive. So
Oh yeah.
now we're gonna go and kill that specific mouse. Whoever threw that fireball, Scion is coming for them. We'll deal with the rest. I don't want to kill all of the mice living there because most of them probably have no choice. But that whoever threw that one, he's getting it, or she.
All right, that's very fair. I'm down with it. By all means, take your choice, persona or fate. I leave it in your capable hands.
Appreciate it.
Okay. So, you were, over the course of the session, after everything went to hell in a handbasket, Seer, you guys freed because Cyana the Small made a very noble gesture and decided, as opposed to binding the Hawk Lord to your service, she set him free completely, no strings attached. And he is doing his best to honor that. So when you flew back and found that someone had set both a building and a tortoise alight and killed the tortoise, Gwendolyn called a moot of all her generals and basically told everyone, we're in open war now. Before we were sort of just exploring, but now it's very clear we are engaging in open warfare. So, as a result, she promoted you all to the interim ranks of what will be considered, the proper term would be not patrol leader. You would now be, I guess, what's the term for it? They have a specific term for it in Mouse.
Scoutmaster.
God damn it, Derek.
I made that joke specifically for you.
Thank you. I actually very much appreciate it. Here we go. The rank would, in this instance, would be guard. Yeah, you would be a guard captain. Would be the term. So, yes, as guard captains, you all are in a unique position to basically control troops and forces. You're officially at like the lowest rank possible to be commanding troops. So, as a result, you all gathered your forces, and you were basically given your first assignment, which is go forth to the Fox Empire, scout ahead, see what we can do. At the moment, Giles, who Red cannot be with us tonight. Much love for you, Red. Hope you're having a good day, buddy. Giles and his forces decided they would scout ahead towards the Owl Kingdom to see what they could find. Giles has a bit of a personal bent in that direction, so it felt pretty natural for him to do that. You all were given basically the ability to amass armies of your own and begin the march into the Fox Kingdom as the vanguard of the Mouse Empire, or the Mouse Expedition proper. Shouldn't say Mouse Empire. That would be Midnight's Empire. You guys are the Mouse. I guess the Mouse Expedition at the moment. You technically do not have the Mouse Frontier yet secure. So, since we left off with you guys building your forces and sort of getting everything set up for that, let's take a moment to talk about what you all chose, what the forces you all organized, so that everyone can be aware of what you've gathered. So, Derek, would you introduce us to your forces?
Yeah, I just had my mind blown because I didn't realize what you were doing, and now you made it like abundantly clear. It's like, oh, we're captains in a militaristic force going out. I understand now, and I love this so much. It makes me.
I thought you would. I
fucking love it. That's so fucking cool. How
Welcome to banner raising, ladies and gents. That is all
this
you.
Is so cool, man.
Your fucking generals. Your base. Welcome to the Warhammer Empires at War.
We're playing Bannerlord, but like, oh fuck, that's so cool, bro. Hell yeah.
Yes. So.
So my units, I have a Axe Infantry Shield Bearers. They are a new addition. They have they're like some rambunctious mice, and they're quite rough, kind of almost wild mouse. Like probably some locals that come out of like the vine crawl area that were like, yeah, you guys are gonna go fuck up those fox people. Yeah, we fucking hate those guys. We'll go with you. And then the war weasels, of course, the tried and true homies. Grumble got stabbed, which was unfortunate, but he's doing all right. And then finally, I have another new addition, which is the torch mice. They are a archer unit, and they're fucking cool. They can mark targets for us to then go and give extra boppings to.
Excellent.
Oh,
Okay, so yes.
and the guy that leads them is the one that I fucking bopped and interrogated at the top of Vinecrawl.
Oh yeah, that's right. That is you. Do you remember his name by any chance?
Oh fuck! I think I wrote it down somewhere. Let me double check.
No worries, I'm not going to
Harm the
drill you
Bright.
about.
No, that's
Okay.
the Weasel of Gauntlet.
Yes.
Fuck. I did not write his name down. What the fuck?
It's all right. I have it here somewhere. It's Ballard. That's what it is. Ballard.
Ballard. Oh yeah,
the
I
Torch
fucking
Mouse.
said his name. You were like, oh, what's his name? I was like Ballard, and you're like, that's a great name. I was like, sick.
Yes. You're right. No, you got it. You got it. Okay,
Ballard,
cool.
Sick.
So we have a unit of torch mice. We have a unit of, I believe you said it was it archers or shield bearers?
They are shield bearers. They are axe infantry.
Okay, that's fair. Cool. So in this case, as shield bearers, they are. That is their primary weapon, by the way. Like shields and mouse guard are not.
They're just called they're called Dukan's shield bearers. They are.
Oh, they're actual axe. Okay, that's fair. So for the purposes of this battle, as I don't have any axe infantry selected out yet, because your war weasels had the axes.
Oh, it was the war weasels that had the axes. Oh, then they
are. Yeah, you chose archers, as I
over.
recall.
Yeah,
so
I chose.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, well, I think I got that one. I think I rolled. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Either way, yeah. Okay, I misunderstood. We were talking about this before we went live, folks. Sorry for.
Yes, we were. Yeah, that's on me. I was like, wait a minute, axes? Shit, I didn't think we had axes yet. Here we go. So yes, so you have a unit of archers who are from the Vinecrawl area, mice who've been conscripted into your service. You have your war weasels who are led by you directly, and then finally we also have the torch mice, who I am currently getting the stats of right now. All right, so having discussed that, then who wishes? I guess that'd be you, Natalie. What is it that you have gathered in your forces?
So I have my boys, my shield bearers, who I've been mentoring and leading since not leading the whole time, but I was.
What is going on with
leadership with them?
Your pitch is going crazy. Am I hallucinating that, Omni, or do you hear it too?
I don't hear it. Sounds good on my end.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Natalie. I don't know.
Okay.
It sounded like you were going like.
It could be video being a butt. We all know how that goes.
Okay. Sorry, it was really confusing me. I didn't
Does
catch
it
anything.
sound okay now?
Nope.
I did hear that. It sounded like DJ Khaled was messing with your scopes on that end for a second.
Yeah.
Like literally someone going weird. So, but I could understand
somehow,
There you go.
So I refreshed video because Omni had disappeared and I couldn't hear him. And I guess when I logged back in, it selected two mics. I had my webcam mic and my other mic selected.
Okay, well, we're good now. You sound fine.
Before.
Sorry about that, folks. Yeah, I heard that and I was like, either somebody slipped me something at the gym and I'm like, it's just now kicking in, or there's something going on.
This just in. Derek's painkillers might be a bit much. All
right. I'll start over in that case. So I've got my shield bearers, who are the troops that I have been with since we joined this expedition. I recently took over leading them. And now I have some spear mice, who are going to be my long distance guys. And then I've got Trevor and the boys, much like Derek. Well, actually, he kind of copied me because I went first. I decided to recruit from within Vinecrawl. And I was like, that annoying mouse Trevor who tried to kick our asses when we were on the turtles and they attacked us before we even knew what Vinecrawl was, and then he ran away like a coward. I'm bringing him onto my team just so I can keep an eye on him and make sure he's not running away anymore. You're gonna face an enemy, you're gonna face them.
That's fine. I held my own against Seer, and I felt like I should have some of his troops for that.
You were much nicer about asking, though, than saying just like, so, think you owe me something.
Oh, yeah, no, I was like, hey, I'm the best fighter you guys have ever seen. None of you could do what I just did. You want to come fucking try to learn how to do what I do?
And you're like, yeah, sure. That's fair. All right. So yes, you have your shield bearers, and you have Trevor and his shot mice, and you also have your, what were they again? I believe spear mice.
Yeah, those are the new guys. Well, the other new guys. Hmm?
Yes, correct. Okay, cool. Alrighty then. So, this is now in your hands, my lovely players. We are beginning the day bright and early. It has been over the course of like a week that you guys have been gathering your forces. And so now that you're at the point where you're just starting to engage in your expedition, as it were, what precisely is the plan for you guys? When are you planning on going? How fast? You are going to be heading into the... If I can actually move this a little bit out of the way so I can show. Here we go. To use the map that we have at the moment, you folks are going to be heading along that path of orange X's from Vinecrawl, where the caravan currently is. Right there. So you will be heading eventually towards that little spot right there, which will be northeast to you all. The trek will take you about a day and a half. That'll be the first Fox settlement, heading towards Fox's Den. How do you want to go about this? You are now in charge of this part of the expedition, and you have a pair of tortoises, and actually a couple more probably behind you. Those are just the two tortoises that are ward up, as it were.
We should probably have a meeting about it, right?
I would say that's a reasonable decision.
Definitely. I'll have Tom and Autumn there.
Okay.
I guess should invite Trevor as well.
Very well. So, Derek, are you having your equerry there by any chance?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Cole's basically always with me.
Okay. So, as your party gathers together, Cole,
My boy.
Thom, and Autumn, who I just completed this afternoon.
Oh, she's so pretty.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, she's a little red. She's a little red fur. Because I remember we rolled it out. I actually had that written out. Along with Trevor, and also, if I can open this up, as being like Beak Kingdoms, Owl Empire. Here we go.
Oh, Jono's
Trevor,
like my official advisor, by the way, at this point. So
that is
always,
true.
Yeah.
He did say that he was going to be helping organize getting the Hedgehog forces together for you, so he will not be available for this particular meeting.
That's fine.
However, that said, Trevor is absolutely there, as well as also Ballard, the torch mouse that you subdued. Yeah. All 5 of these folks are waiting for you on the back of one of the tortoises as you arrive.
Hell yeah. We got the whole squad.
In addition to this, you have like a couple of other like troops here and there, folks leading the regiments, which you basically have actual regiments. Each of these units represents like, in this case, they're small, but they're still like large enough to be considered significant. Like the whole force between you guys, that'll be, let's see, 6, 12, 18, 24, 32, 20, 20. So like something in the area of approaching 60 mice, give or take, at least.
So I'll say Fisk is the name of the shield bearers of Dukons.
Nice. I like that. Okay.
I think that we probably would start with refreshments, and then once everybody's like sat down, having some of the leftover snake jerky that Dukon probably still had. That snake was so fucking big. He's just gonna be giving that thing out for the rest of the campaign.
I think after
Sayana would see that and go, of course, that's what a weasel would put out for refreshments, and then put out some, like, pastries and tea.
The other nice
So we're not just eating 2-week-old snake jerky.
So right, the good thing is you guys are currently within the area around Vinecrawl. And Vinecrawl actually does have a significant amount of delicious food, thankfully. So a number of the regiments of mice that have been raised here bring their own like berries dried and like fully hydrated. You have nuts. You have a couple of them brought like baskets of their own version of gab croon, which is like trail bread, which at this point is like it's really like bread with like dried fruit and nuts in it, and a bunch of other things too. Even one brings like a bunch of little hand pies. So like it's a pretty nice spread, big enough to feed most of your troops, and you all sort of have like your own little tent to yourselves. I figure you've chosen one of your 2 tortoises as like your operating base for the moment. One of the non-weaponized ones, so it isn't going to be lost in battle for you.
How many days has it been since the previous session?
It's been over the end of the last session. You guys took about the better part of a week to gather your forces.
Okay.
So,
cool.
So it's been about 7 days since the last like in-character action, basically.
Dukan is going to, in that interim time, in his downtime, in that interim time, he's going to have affixed the skull of the vicar to the front of his tortoise, which he considers his tortoise the one that's going to be eventually a cannon tortoise, because Dukan loves that fucking cannon. For protection, in case somebody tries to firebomb our tortoise. The skull will protect the tortoise from getting firebombed, because it'll just explode against the side of it and keep the tortoise safe. That's Dukan's thinking anyway. It might be a little bit more weight, but it's just probably placed differently because it would have been carrying it anyway. I just wanted to run that by, make sure, because I don't want to lose another tortoise. I'm very sad.
No, that's perfectly fair. I will tell you right now, so long as you are engaging in warfare, I will not just like indiscriminately murder your tortoises without like you're taking reasonable precautions. The only reason that tortoise died earlier was because it was a pretty significant raid on a tortoise not prepared for battle. Like in warfare, it will not be the same. Those things are clad in heavy armor, and they are pretty hard to kill. And a tortoise can easily snap a mouse in half with its jaws. Like, they are big compared to you. You guys are, to make the comparison, it's like a triceratops to a human.
Yeah.
So, like, that's not going to happen in open warfare. They will be much more aggressive in their own defense. So, go ahead, buddy.
How fare your forces, Sayana?
They are good, strong, and capable.
Are you ready to march?
I believe we are all ready.
Behind you, you could see like Thom and Autumn both give a little salute, along with Trevor, whose closest thing to a salute he does is just sort of like stands arms akimbo a little bit. A little squat, but very much like clearly prepared for war.
Dukan believes that we have had great success with infiltration before the battle. We should continue this, though I believe they will see us coming and know to expect us.
Perhaps at least there is a less obvious way for us to get to them. We are not familiar with this land, but we now have people in our party who are more familiar with it.
What Dukan fears is that we are unfamiliar. We will lose many men to traps and emplacements. If they are named after the fox, they will no doubt take after it in their warfare.
Nearby, as you say this, Ballard raises a hand, like, sort of just waiting for it to be addressed, not like speaking.
Yeah, Dukan just like nods at him.
If I can be so bold, yes. From what we've been able to discern, the Vulpine forces are very well organized around shock and awe tactics, hidden fade. They're very much skirmishers for the most part. When they commit to war, they tend to commit inordinate numbers of troops to smaller battles, overwhelmed through weight of numbers. But they also use, oftentimes, unique mechanisms. I can't speak for certain, but from what our scouts have said, it seems that whoever the Fox Emperor is, he's something of a tinkerer. And so, as a result, he tends to test his war machines out on the front. They also utilize a number of cavalry and more esoteric devices. So many, we don't have names for all of them. They're just strange. We do expect it somewhat, but the good news is they don't often stand up very well in open battle. If you can get them in pitched warfare, you might have a chance.
How do they take to my kith?
Two cons. Sorry, third person.
No, I figured. He would sort of pause. As far as weasels, we couldn't tell you. There's not many weasels in this region beyond those that have been conquered by, well, the forces of Gauntlet. And they don't commit this far towards the north. For the most part, they built their power base towards the southeast section of this part of the land. The Fox and them have made an uneven and uneasy distance between one another. A large no man's land. Serpent's Run was kind of an insulating factor between the two of them. Knowing, however, your people's ancestry with serpents, I imagine they would likely also be wary of your kind. At least something to a degree. But foxes are cunning and dangerous. More dangerous than your kind, if you don't mind me saying, sir.
They are bigger.
You just sort of hold up his hands in a, yeah, kind of gesture.
That's all Ducon thinks about. It's just like, they are bigger.
It's hardly insulting to be like, you could get eaten by them. Yes, I am farther down in the line in the animal kingdom than they are. This is, in fact, true.
He says it with the same acknowledgement that I, Derek, acknowledge, like, yeah, a lion could totally fucking eat me.
Yeah, no, exactly. A gorilla could 100% make me dance and pull my arms off. It's totally possible. Yeah, no. So he just sort of shrugs a little bit and looks over at Trevor, who, looking over at you, Sayana, is basically asking permission to speak as well.
I also nod.
In my experience, the skirmishers are skilled at committing to ambush. However, they tend to use fear as their primary method of control for their region. The owl surveillance is its greatest advantage. At night, they can fly through the various branches and employ bats and other creatures to spy for them. But the fox doesn't really engage in that kind of spycraft. Instead, terror tends to be his methodology. So, he strikes, causes havoc, and leaves. It does mean they are potentially more vulnerable to a direct assault. They might not see us coming if we hit them fast enough. But we would have to move quickly. In their territory, they would have large numbers of bonds mice. That could be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Where's Giles in all this?
Giles has headed out a day ago. He basically still has his axe to grind with the Owl Empire, and so he is going to go take care of that, or at least start the process of scouting ahead on the other side. Considering that he has, technically before both the two of you, a more baseline elite and larger, more militarized group of mice that he's already commanded for a while. Gwendolyn has said that this seems like it probably isn't a bad idea. He seems like he's capable enough and responsible enough with his own men to know when to commit, when to not. Not to mention also now he is himself backed up by, well, war weasels of his own. So between his weasel skirmishers, his swords mice, and his archers, he's pretty well positioned with a flexible force of his own.
Okay.
So he's going along those blue X's I showed you earlier. You guys are going along the orange. After he pushes a little bit further down and reconnoiters, he will gather back up with you guys further along. He will not commit to invading the Owl Empire by himself, much as he might enjoy the prospect of it. So yes, not here. He left the other day, along with all his attendants. So
Dukan does not wish to shed unnecessary blood. How loyal to the Vulpine are these mice?
you would see both Trevor and Ballard look at each other and then look at you. We wouldn't know. They tend not to be taken alive. They don't They will sometimes kill themselves if they are captured. We believe it is a benefit of the terror they bring. The Fox Empire controls its people through raw fear, and it is an effective deterrent against treason. We don't know if it's loyalty or pure fear that motivates them, but the effect is the same. They are very skilled at withdrawing, and the ones that are captured often escape swiftly before we can give proper interrogation. Or, well, they seem to be ever more inventive in ways to prevent themselves from being interrogated. Some have taken to slipping hemlock into their cloaks when they are captured, so they can chew on it before we can properly disarm them.
Dukan knows well of being ruled through fear. The only way to break one fear is through sheer terror. Dukan does not wish to employ those methods. Sayana, what do you propose?
I think it's difficult to say. All we can do is try to let them know that we are there to help them, that we do not wish to fight, but if they are not willing to lay down their arms, we must do what we can to protect ourselves and push forward.
I think Dukan kind of shakes his head like,
For the first time in a while, we disagree.
Well, I would suggest, at this moment, and this will be Ballard speaking, I have not enough knowledge, honestly, to give you any better counsel than how they may organize their forces. But we haven't pushed that far into their territory in a while. We have no idea what to expect. It could be anything. So, I recommend we have a small scouting force go ahead of the main body. You will, of course, join us. I would not be averse to it, but perhaps have the heavier elements of your caravan move towards the rear, the sort of thing that would give us away. Then, if we find something worthy committing full attack forces to, we can gather the main force back together again.
Dukan wishes to capture one of these vulpine mice alive. You may scout. Ballard, you have my leave to lead this operation on my part, in my absence. Cole and I will track down strays. We will neutralize what we must, and we will capture what we can.
Aye. At this point, Trevor turns to you, Sayana, and says, I defer to your wisdom. I am no commander, only an advisor and a hunter.
I will join the scouting party. I'm curious to see these mice up closer, but I'm not confident in my capabilities of capturing one without it hurting itself beforehand, and I do not wish anyone to kill themselves simply because of me. saying the weasel can't go do that. Just Sayana doesn't want to mess up and have one of these mice lives on her hands.
That's fair.
It is best that you do not come, Sayana.
At this point, Thom would pipe in and just say, well, regardless of what you're going to do, I recommend we not break our forces too far apart. You should probably be close enough where you can signal one another with sound. Just in case. Any further than that, and you could get isolated and, well... And at this point, Autumn chimes in. Picked apart is the way you're looking to describe it. Yes, I was trying not to say it quite that way, but yes. Also, thank you, Natisha. You might need it. All right. At this point, behind you, Cole would sort of pull on your cloak a little bit and just say, are we ready to go then, Master?
Let us venture into this new land, discover old truths.
Aye. All right. I'm ready when you are. And all your weasels behind you just sort of, and do this little chest pat across the across their sternums. At this point, it has been long enough where Screeb is no longer wounded. The boy back to full strength. Your regiment is back to full
Maximum squeebitude.
Yes. The squeebening. You do have just so you know, in terms of their stats, they count as equivalent to a 6-man unit, with each one being 3. So when you get bigger and bigger units, they will get progressively larger and larger.
Cool.
More weaselly.
Cool.
Indeed. All right. So, if that's the case, then the party, the tent slowly comes down, and your tortoises begin to slowly get put away, and eventually, the caravan begins to set off. Following the recommendation that Ballard has, the force of your expedition, your little attack arm of this expedition, is broken into 2 chunks. The vanguard and a rear guard. The rear guard element has all your heavy shit. So your tortoises, with all their heavy siege weaponry and loud plate armor, they go about a good couple hours behind your vanguard force, which is mostly infantry on foot. So the tortoises are themselves guarded, each by a regiment of guards mice. Each tortoise, for the record, has its own crew. So they are not undefended, just so you're aware. Think of them as like walking siege towers, with all troops included.
Cool.
So they are moving with their own heavily armored caravan, while you all press ahead in advance. As I recall, Dukan, you wanted to specifically break off and range even further ahead in an attempt to capture some of these mice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, then. So, first off, I'm going to ask, because this is relevant, Sayana, do you want to weather watch today, or do you want to leave that in my hands?
I'll weather watch.
Okay.
Might I add rocky terrain?
Yes, most assuredly. This is largely on rolling hillsides, so that would qualify. As I flip over to the time of year to see precisely what kind of...
Yeah.
Okay.
Watching the hell out of that weather.
So at this point, we are currently in summer, which means that summer weather is lighter than most. So unless this utterly explodes, it should be pretty good. It's going to be 4d6, Shadowrun style. So see if this explodes. Wait. Not a 1. So what do you want it to be? You could have it just be like pleasant environment. Other options are warm and humid, where you can potentially impose hungry and thirsty or tired as a result of failure for traversal, but that applies to enemies too. Summer rain, which can lead to, nothing too extreme, but occasionally small floods, or make it harder to track you guys or easier to track others. or thunderstorms, which are just hazardous?
I think it's gonna be raining with thunderstorms, but I want it to be kind of overcast, make it a little harder to spot us out.
Just so. As you turn your eyes to the skies, you do predict fortuitous weather in your direction and are able to steer the caravan towards what appear to be a large bank of rolling clouds, some kind of thunderstorm system rolling through. And just like you predict, by about midday, you're under a large bank of clouds, and besides the occasional misting, it's pretty pleasant. When it does rain, which it comes in waves, it's not enough to really drown you, but it is enough to make the soil a little bit tackier and wetter, and it means that footprints are easier to find. And hopefully, when the storms come by later, they might erase your own footprints. At least, if thunderstorms come along, it's always a chance it could get drier. But at least right now, the clouds favor you.
Nice.
Excellent. So then, let's see. So at the moment, what is each of your goals? I'm going to start asking you guys this for every session because you're going to probably need to start getting those that persona and that fate. So, what are your personal objectives for the end of this session? Your little side missions.
I want to learn more about the wolf mice so I can start forming a strategy on how we might convince them that we're on their side.
Okay. So research Fox Empire mice. Okay. We can do that easily. So I will write that down here as your temporary objective for this session. Excellent. Okay, cool. And what about you? So in this case, this would be learn about Fox Empire. Yep. Cool. Oh, you already got it. Thank you. I appreciate that. Awesome. What about you, Jakan? What do you want?
I want to capture a fox mouse alive.
Capture a fox mouse alive. All right. Cool. And if you guys succeed, you know the drill. Thank you both for using your goal. I appreciate that. It's been a hot minute since we've done goals. I realize it's been kind of a lot of plot after plot, so I'm glad to be back to doing that. All right. So then, I'm going to roll a die and see which of you two is going to go first. Odds, Natalie, evens, Derek. All right. Natalie, we're starting off with you first. So, Sienna, your force is largely, again, on foot. You're trying your best to avoid the loudest din possible. So your troops are ranging a little bit ahead of the larger force of your siege tortoises. So you want to learn more. As you're walking, and by the way, I wanted to ask, Derek, you left Ballard with the main force. With
he's commanding my forces in my absence, but he's with Sienna, so she's like in charge. Like, obviously he's gonna. Yeah, if she issues an order, he's not gonna be like, "But what would Dukan want me to do?" No, he's gonna do what Sienna tells him.
Right. You're both at this point. You're both in charge of like your captains. So when one is in absence, the command is very obviously in the hands of the other. So Ballard, at this moment, Ballard, Trevor, Thom, and Autumn are all moving with their forces along with you. Trevor, at this point, has taken his shot mice, and he approaches you as you're walking and says, "If you want to learn more about the mice of this region, perhaps I might be able to scout out a homestead? Small shed or something nearby? The mice of this region either live in large encampments ruled by the foxes, or they live in small scattered areas policed by Vulpine bonds mice. The second would be easier to find. Maybe you might be able to find members of the society to ask about, if you're interested."
I'm willing to give it a try, but I don't want to cause these mice any undue stress. The ones that are not engaged in battle and are just trying to get through their daily lives don't need to have to worry.
I will do my best to not bother or cause any stress. I will observe from afar. If I see an encampment, I'll let you know. I will take my men and range ahead then. He bows very deeply. And he just sort of skitters off with his little group. His shot mice group is very small by comparison to most of the regiments. Most of the regiments that you have are like about 12 mice or so strong, at least. He's bringing a total of like, I think he'd only have like 4 shot mice.
Okay.
But considering the size of their crossbows, they're basically mobile artillery. It's like a mortar crew practically.
Arbalists. Or what are they called? Arquebus?
No, arquebus is the gun. Arbalist, you were right the first time. Those are like the really big, like you have to hand wind them ones. His
Our
are technically,
ballista is a tree person.
yeah, the ballista is like the big,
Arborist.
yeah, the arborist. Technically, the weapon, the bow that they carry, they call them beast slayer bows, and they're actually crossbows in the sense that they have 2 arms. Hey, Naris, what's up? Thank you for the hydrate and the posture check. They actually have 2 bow arms crossing each other and meeting in the middle of the knock. So basically, they have double the draw strength of even a normal crossbow. These things are pretty strong.
Don't want to get shot by one of those.
No, they would absolutely kill you. It'd be like getting shot by it'd be like getting shot by the crossbow in Half-Life. It would pin you to whatever's behind you, most likely. Yeah, it's pretty messed up. Yeah, I may have watched Half-Life recently again. So, as they range ahead, you can see that Ballard stays behind, and Thom kind of leans over to you and sort of whispers like, "So, you really trust these guys? Not trying to cast aspersions, just, it's been less than a couple of days and they're already marching with us."
I am willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, but should they show any signs that they are not willing to listen to orders, that they are here for ill reasons, or anything that does not agree with our mission, then they will be spoken to and or dismissed from our party.
Roger that, boss. I'm glad you at least said it. I don't want it to be a diplomatic thing,
Of course. With that in mind, please do inform me if you hear or see anything that you think we would not want in our group.
Of course. Honestly, it's... I don't know. It's probably just me. And at this point, Autumn walks up next to you and goes, "Actually, no. I agree with Thom on this one, to a degree. These mice, Seer's mice, they do seem to serve him out of genuine altruism, which is good. And they appear to be a volunteer force. Even better. Morale is decent. However, I must admit, they seem ill-organized compared to guards mice, and I'm not used to seeing them commanded." And as she looks behind you, you can see these mice, and so Ballard himself is a torch mouse, but he does not have a regiment of torch mice. A torch mouse is to what would be referred to as bonds mice, as like the equivalent of being like a sergeant to a private in the army. It's just a rank. Torch mice themselves their rank is denoted by them carrying these globes that they fill with this bioluminescent fluid derived from algae that they throw at things, and that makes it glow and lets all the rest of these skirmishers know, shoot that dude first. Shoot him until he stops moving. And so Ballard carries himself very much like, honestly, the head of a pack of wolves. The rest of his mice move in this very loose formation, while your troops are marching in relative lockstep, or at least at the double, where literally it's like 2 by 2 in a clear and obvious formation. These guys kind of sort of like meander about, and occasionally you see like a couple of them like lean down and they'll like scavenge as they're walking by. Some will forage leaves and mushrooms as they come across them on the ground. it's very much like it's a very disorganized by comparison force. Like Ballard seems to have some command over them, but like it's much looser than you're used to. These aren't professional military forces. They're more like a militia that's been raised up.
So it just kind of looks over to the other mice and then back at Autumn and Tom. Yes, well, we were all scattered and disorganized at one point, but I don't think it's prudent to point out any failings of our new party members this early on, lest we make them feel unwelcomed or feel poorly about themselves. I don't think that would be the best way to get them to improve themselves. Instead, we will show them what a more organized and more tightly formed party is capable of, and hope that they follow in our footsteps. And if not, then we will address it with them.
Autumn just nods. She takes that at face value. Thumb also just sort of gives you this quiet, like, sure thing. And he still seems a little uneasy, but he accepts your wisdom for what it is. Rational. And he, hopefully it works. So I'm going to have you make me... Let's see, Cyano. What role are we going to have you do? Cards, honor, natural bearing, weather sense. You made a weather sense roll already. So let's have you make... I'll let you make a hunter roll,
Okay.
if you would like.
I haven't done one of those in a while.
I'll be adding a situational modifier based on the other mice. Because don't forget, you also do have rocky terrain-wise as well. You can apply that on.
Okay.
So that'd be 4 more dice. So that's even, at least. I also am going to be applying a further 3 dice because you have these shot mice who are basically mouse rangers working for you.
Oh, nice.
Wow, everyone's having a bad day today.
Oof.
Yeah, it's raining. It's hard to see.
Yeah. A little while goes by, and as you're on the road, eventually you can see Trevor and his shot mice return, and they are drenched and muddy. They look terrible. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, Natisha.
Thanks.
Another Fader persona.
Appreciate it.
If you want to re-roll that with one of these, you guys do have now 2.
I think it's better to hang on to it. I have a feeling some stuff's gonna be happening.
Okay, I'm not going to say anything. That's fair. All right. So that's going to put a failure on rocky terrain-wise, which actually will boost it to 5, and so that means you will go up a level, which is awesome. And then your hunter is almost full. You still have 1 more failure to go.
Oh, I already checked that one
Okay.
off, so I actually have
Oh,
two
thank you.
to
I
go.
appreciate that. It's nice having you guys do the bookkeeping. That's really good. Thank you. I'm not used to that.
If I don't do it in the moment, I'll forget, so I always try and click on it.
That's the important thing to
there.
do, because you can literally level up something during session, and it'll benefit your exact next roll. So, good idea. Another! Neris gave another Fade
Neris,
persona, so
you're off, dude.
you guys are sailing, which is good.
Thank you so much.
So eventually, Trevor and the crew come back, and they are miserable and wet, and even though none of them are saying it, like, you can tell from the amount of mud caked all around their little furry yodpers that they have, that their little thighs are. Like, they have been stalking through terrain for a while now. When Trevor comes back, his face is like all the white, like almost ashen like makeup that they have. Somewhere between like, it's kind of like a kabuki sort of thing where they use like ash, clay, and very possibly guano or droppings in order to make this stuff.
I'm sure he smells great.
Yeah, they perfume themselves, thank God. But like,
Well, we're mice. I mean, we probably don't care.
yeah, no, they use like a variety of herbs, like various kinds of mugwort and grass that they rub on themselves to negate any smell, which is pretty good because they don't want to be smelled by foxes and other shit. They are in beast territory now, so you know.
Once the foxes know you smell like bat shit, they're never gonna forget that.
Yeah. So when he comes back, his like makeup is just running from all the water, and he just sort of walks over. Unfortunately, all the settlements we found appear to be abandoned or just fails. It happens. Farmsteads collapse. Bad weather.
Oh, how abandoned? As in completely barren, or are there any things left there?
Well, one of them did seem like it was within the season, so no one there, long gone, but we did catch some items. It's possible that the farmstead might have been pressed into service or have been forced to abandon it for some reason, swiftly enough where they've left things behind. If you want, I can show you what I'm talking about.
Yes. I motion to Tom and let him know to have some blankets and stuff ready for us when we get back. I don't want anyone catching a cold, but might as well go check out this house first.
Thom would nod, and he would turn to you and say, "Would you want to bring your shield bearers with you? Or do you want to leave the regiment back here with the main force?"
I feel like if I take them, then nothing's gonna happen. And if I leave them, then something's gonna happen. um, I'll take. Well, I've got Trevor's guys with me, right?
Yes, you do have Trevor and his 3 shot mice with you.
Well, I guess Baldur's there. Yeah, let's go ahead and take the shield bearers.
Okay. So that's the case. Then Thom would nod and gather the shield bearers up. He's actually one of them. He's kind of like their squad leader per se. So he'd gather the shield that he's brought, put his hook away, and the other mice all sort of walk over and salute and are ready to go with you on your little expedition. So you're taking the shot mice and the shield bearers with you.
We'll take Tom then. One of the lesser ranked mice can take care of making sure we're got like change of cloak or something to dry off with when we get back.
Oh yeah, Autumn is still back there. She can coordinate this. She's highly proficient at doing this kind of thing. So okay, after a couple of minutes of sort of gathering your forces, they all sort of again split as Autumn and Ballard all sort of wave goodbye as you guys sort of begin to stride through the woods. Do me a favor, make me a scout roll fast. This is a personal roll for you. I'm making rolls for everyone else separately. Because I've got a lot of dice here.
I might use some of that persona now.
Okay.
Oh, come on.
I'm so sorry.
I don't want to waste it anymore.
That's fair.
I'm on a bad streak right now. I don't want to roll another
We're just passing
one.
bad luck around, I guess.
That's how it goes. So just so everyone out there in Chatland knows, that was repeated ones, unfortunately. Okay.
2, 2, 3, 1, and another one.
Do be like that sometimes, though. Okay. So, as you go bounding through the woods, we are going to then quickly pop over to Ducon super fast.
Hello.
So, Ducon, you're trying to range ahead and capture some mice, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Well, first off, you're going to need to make me a scout roll or a hunter roll. Your call.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Is there anything I could add to that? Probably not. Nope. Don't think so.
Well, okay. Remember, you can always, if you want to ever try to justify a roll to me, just try to justify a roll to me. That's how this goes, especially with
I
wises.
don't think so.
Okay.
Snake wise, lore wise, or poison wise? I don't think so.
No, none of those three would work.
I know how to think like a snake, but that does not mean that I know how mice.
You're not a snurson, unfortunately.
Okay. Oh no, that's not good. Oh god damn, Natalie, what have you done to me? You've
No.
Let's
Let's put the blame where it belongs. Roll 20 is a hateful piece of code sometimes.
That's unfortunate. Yeah,
That
there's no
is
amount of
failure.
there's no amount of sinking additional resources that's going to turn that around. Chat, I got all failures because I got 2 4s but 2 1s to take those away from me.
Yep. Traders remove successes, and 4+ is what you're looking for. So that is technically 0 degrees of success.
You can assume
No,
I
like,
need
major degrees of
more
failure.
than just 1 success on this.
Okay. So, Tucan, the morning goes by gruesomely slow. It is one of those days where, while the weather is doing a good job of masking your advance, and that is a good thing in this instance, it, however, has also turned the roads and, more importantly, the areas off of these beaten paths into a morass of mud and wet leaves, and basically turned the terrain into paper mache yet to set. Every step you take cakes more mud onto your furry body, and eventually it gets so heavy that your forces have to go under a tree and literally scrape the stuff off of them and throw it onto the ground because it's actually slowing you down being so heavy. This happens about twice, and as you're hunting about, what normally would guide you, which would be the welcome to sunshine, the scent that would guide you along your path, is all but been wiped clean by the rain.
Goddamn
All
rain.
you smell is petrichor and mud.
I love this smell.
Yes. It's a great smell. It's just not very good for this kind of thing.
That is fair. Unfortunate. Okay. I mean, it's been an hour. Do we want to take a bio?
Yeah, I think this is a good time to take a quick bio.
All right, don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back with more Malgard. Much for waiting. Omni, what's happening, my dude?
All right. So, Derek,
Yes.
you come back doing a little bit of a sneak, as I recall. I just want to make sure I got the right music for this one.
Not doing a great job at it, apparently.
Yeah. Your rolls were not that great. And the weather is, at the moment, not the primary, like, it's not helping, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But also, you're starting to, as you go along, notice there's more than that in this area. As you've been sort of sneaking about doing your thing, eventually Cole sort of tugs on your cloak from behind, and when you look back, you can see that Cole, with his eyes, gestures like, off to the side. And when he does, as you follow them, you can see a very brief glimpse of a shadow, not near you, but like basically from like the mouse equivalent, like a couple hundred like body lengths away from you, over by where there's a copse of trees. You can see a shadow dart from one. I guess I shouldn't say tree. For you guys, it's sprouts. Like it's like thick stalks of like grass and roots and vines. But it might as well be a forest to you all. But you see like a very specific glint and a blur of motion that indicates it's very possible somebody might be watching you.
So very calmly, without bringing any attention to it or anything, Dukan is going to say, I mean, it's raining, right?
Yes.
So he's just going to say, because he knows that his voice will be carried by the wind and the rain, or won't be carried by the wind and the rain.
We are being followed. Do not look around. Do not. Squeeb. Squeeb.
you catch Squeeb just in time as he goes, oh, sorry. And just like looks forward as you do.
We must.
How many mice? It's just Cole and us weasels, right?
Yeah, you left the rest of your forces behind. It is right now. It's effectively you and your war weasels. So.
Okay, so I'm going to pick up Cole and put him like about here-ish, like as if I'm like sheltering him from the rain with my body, and I'm going to like say just loud enough for him to hear.
You will break away, find out their number, and come back.
And as I go to like let him go, I pick up like his backpack and like I'm continuing to hold it. So it just looks like I'm just carrying him.
That's fair. All right. For that's clever. That's a sneaky, clever sneaky. If that's the case, then make me for this one. This is a deceiver roll.
Oof,
However, okay. I'm gonna let you use
Weasel nature.
I'll let you lure weasel for this.
Okay, cool.
You know what? Actually, you could use weasel nature for this if you'd like. Sure, and I'll let you also add your deceiver to this. So cool. This will count as technically this counts if since you're not trained in deceiver, it becomes a nature roll. But
it becomes a nature roll. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool.
But if you pass on this or fail on this, it would go under deceiver.
Oh my god! What is with this? Okay, well I'm gonna explore this.
That's fair.
Oh man.
Okay.
Come on! I'm gonna spend a thing for it.
Okay.
Okay, that's a success.
That is a success. That's what we're looking for. Let's go, chat. This, by the way, chat, is why when I give my players lots of dice, I've had people be like, but that's too many dice for Burning Wheel. And I'm like, no, it's not. Burning Wheel self-corrects all the goddamn time. So, okay, yeah, no worries, Tenebris. So, you, at first, it's sort of like a little bit awkward doing this. Cole is, even though he is small and you are big, it is very muddy and gross. And for a second, it almost looks like the way Cole's going to fall out, that he's going to make a big splat when he lands in the mud. But thankfully, he gets smart, and as you sort of like pick him up, he clambers onto the front of you and then sneaks down your front and off the path, leaving you with basically his pack and his cloak, and taking only his... he's left the hammer behind. He has only taken his eel dagger with him.
Okay.
So,
Cool.
now I get to make a roll on his behalf. So, you are trying to basically lead these folks on a merry chase while Cole gets their number.
Away
right?
from our forces, yeah.
Away from the forces. Okay.
Not like a direct, like an oblique angle. Like if we
Right.
were venturing out in diagonal to the right, then when we encounter these people, I want to immediately ping a hard right so that it's like we're doing like a 167-degree angle.
Right. So it's kind of one of those, like, you could eventually work a loop back around as opposed to, like, making it obvious. Okay, I got you.
I had seer training.
That is very fair. Yes, you know exactly what I'm talking about. All right, then. So, if that's the case, then, for this one, considering what you're doing, because the deceiver was to convince them that you're not following them. In this instance, this would be a scout roll, as you're trying to move quietly.
Cool, I can do that if the dice will let me. Okay.
Big dice pools be scary in this system because every die can be a good or a bad.
Okay,
That's a
well,
good.
That's
That's a
a
success.
nice.
All right. So, as you begin your path meandering through, it starts to get very, like, it gets very gross. Earlier, like, this was just a light, like, sprinkle and overcast earlier, but it's starting to get heavier as the day goes on. And that thunderstorm that might be approaching, it is beginning to come closer towards this area. Good news. For you, it offers cover. As you're marching, you do still occasionally catch signs of those who are following you. You realize, in fact, that they're following you because they came through here earlier. You just happen to stumble across a similar area that they already crossed, and at one point you even crossed paths with their tracks. Almost impossible to tell, actually. They've been brushing over them as they go. Clearly they have somebody there with like some sort of straw or wicker brush, just like bashing over them, but the mud does not let you do that very effectively. And the best they can do is disguise their numbers, not their presence. So there's probably someone behind them, like dropping logs or like mulching up the earth with like a spade or something. But even then, they can only do that for so long before they just give up. Given the amount of tracks that you see, it's possible a regiment might be attempting to follow you, and that can be anywhere from like four mice, like a really small unit, to like a full regiment of like 25 to plus mice. Like, it's a lot. It's a crowd. Eventually, you see a familiar mouse ahead of you, peering like around the corner of a tree very discreetly as Cole sort of pops his little hand back in. And as you get closer, sort of remerges with your group. And he just pops back into his cloak.
Yeah,
he looks
back on.
wretched. He is dripping wet, coated in mud. If he weren't on mission and focused, he would be miserable.
That's my boy. That's my boy.
He resumes walking in front of you. It's not just them, Master. There's more than just that group. I think we've stumbled across a hunting party. From what I could tell, a couple of spear-wielding folks, javelins, hard to really tell. Could be pole arms or pole axes of some kind. They seem to use them for hunting. Others seem to have bows, and I thought I saw insectrists.
What is that word?
He pauses. Oh, right. That's a mouse thing. Are people...
They wear bugs, insectrists.
No. That's not what I mean. And you could hear ahead of you, Squeeb. Squeeb turns his head around and sort of looks at you. Insectrists are they're the mice that they keep beetles and bees and crickets on leashes, and he makes a delicious snack. It's fantastic. It's crunchy and gooey all at the same time. And you can see like Cole looking up at him with this like shut the fuck up look. And he just and he just bends forward. That though isn't entirely wrong. They're herders, insect herders. I think
If they are going to
gathered.
devour these insects en masse, they must have multitudes.
I don't think these ones are for eating. I think they're for tracking or hunting. I'd say beetles. Big ones.
How big of a beetle could I... How big do beetles even get?
Well, we didn't have many of them, but I've heard tell that the mouse guard would, in certain regions with fewer mice, gather groups of large stag beetles together to be sort of like an attack mob, or in some cases trackers. Those can get as big as me.
This could be a problem. Dukan does not doubt our ferocity, but Dukan is under no delusions that we may take out an entire hunting party on our own. Perhaps we crossed paths with the larger force, while the other mice might be running through a smaller one.
It's possible. I can't tell you their exact numbers, but I do know there's a few. It's nothing that our main force couldn't handle, but we'd probably need the scouting force to take this on successfully. Or at very least, more than just us. I'd say a couple of regiments of mice might get us to a pitched battle if you wanted.
You have done good, Cole. Dukan must ask yet more of you.
Of course. You have my sword.
In an hour's time, have enough forces at the juncture where we departed from Sayana's forces. We will be there, and there will be blood. We
Aye,
will
my
take
lord.
one alive.
Dukan's not going to let this fucking mission fail. He's
Yeah,
like,
that's fair.
I don't care if I have to kill like a whole fuck ton of them. I'm going to take at least one alive.
That's fair. He nods, and without another word, he bounds off quietly into the brush. I'm going to make a little mousy roll for him, because he had pretty good roll. So he disappears into the brush quietly. It's moments like this, it's useful to be a tender paw. Young, energetic, small. Makes you good at sneaking. And good at bopping. As you continue to lead them on your merry way. So I'm going to ask you for this, Dukan. You're going to make me a health roll, buddy.
Okay. I got health for days.
Oh, yeah, you're good. You're good. Okay. Over the next hour, as you're beginning to circle back, your endurance begins to be tested. The mud is getting thick and deep. If you've ever been on a mud hike before, they are truly endurance tests. When people walk through a little bit of a puddle, it's not that big a deal. When it gets up to your ankles, it can be annoying. When it gets to your waist, that's basically doing standing sit-ups with every step. And that is where you're at this point.
Ew.
This muck is a mess. And you can tell they are following you as well. With a little luck, you might even be tiring a couple of them out. But they stay on you, absolutely for sure, as you, Squeeb, and Gremble continue to push through the muck, with only the occasional groan of annoyance from Gremble signaling your presence. We're going to take this moment and swap back over to Sienna. So, Sienna, you have taken a small party of mice with you to go and find this little homestead that you were told about. So, as you push forward, make me I'm going to check on you again, because I'm going to be making you guys make a bunch of new rolls for this one. Make me a scout roll. Another scout roll for this one. This one's relevant. You know what? Actually, no. Pathfinder. Pathfinder works too. See,
That's
Scout
pretty
works. I'll let you make a Pathfinder roll because that's a dead even roll.
Yeah. And that's a failure.
Okay, that's fair.
I will re-roll that because
You also can add Rocky terrain-wise to that, so you should have 6 dice.
Okay. In that case, let's just
There you go.
oh,
All right. Yeah, that works.
that's
So
not
it's a
terrible.
failure on Scout that I just checked. And if you check a pass on Rocky terrain-wise and on Pathfinder. So, as you have pushed forward, Trevor is leading the way. But this requires a thank you very much, Bond. Much love.
Thank you.
So, as you have pressed onward, Trevor is doing his best to lead you guys to where you're going, but you're also leading a regiment. So this is no longer just like, oh, it's just you and 4 other dudes sneaking along. Now it's you and a group of at least like 12 mice behind you. So you can't just be walking in small groups. So getting them all 2 by 2, you guys managed to find a way to traverse through the brush pretty efficiently without causing too much.
I would like to say we already have camo armor basically from our fight with the hawk, so I probably had them put that on so that way there's a little extra protection, at least from afar. It's just gonna look like a pile of leaves moving in the wind or something.
I like that. Okay, yeah, I'll let you do that. I will say that this stuff was improvised camouflage, so it will maybe last one more use after this. So be cautious
fair.
with that.
That's fair.
But that
And
is
I
very
will,
fair.
in the background, have my mice start working on making more.
Oh,
because
yeah, That's the kind of field craft that the Mouse Guard are really good at. So like that'll be a thing they can definitely do again. So as they follow you along, eventually you come across this small little wooden. It's like a group of like 4 to 5 shacks. They're all built in a circle around a small, not quite paved, more like clearing that they've made. They've clearly raked it to where it's at the point of just dirt and gravel. And in the center, what looks like it might have been a fire pit once. There's what looks like the ruins of a pen nearby that's been left out to the point where, like, just enough time has gone by, rain and wind and weather, where the little chunks of wood, the little splinters that would be the 2x4s for the mice, have all broken or been blown mostly away. There's only like 1 or 2 standing in what looks like the shape of what might have been a fence. So likely they kept like crickets or something. There's a little crop that's been mostly trampled and eaten by random pests and other animals and insects. And you see each of the homes has been pretty severely abused by nature at this point. It's definitely been built, like, or at least occupied within the last year. Trevor was right about that. But these aren't super permanent structures. These are made to be maintained by basically serfs. You need constant maintenance, patch hay to put hay into the roof, to patch the walls with mud. And with no one here to do that, the maintenance compounds into becoming bigger issues. One of them does still seem to have a door, though.
Start with that one then.
Okay.
What I'm mostly looking for is there any type of written documents anywhere that Sienna can look over to see, get some insight on these people's lives? She's also trying to figure out the conditions and terms that these people left on. Does it seem like they left in a hurry? There may be still like dusty bowls out on the table that they didn't have time to gather up and put away.
Right.
Is there maybe dry blood somewhere showing signs that someone was like, I'm not going, I'm staying, and they were dealt with because of that?
Right. Interesting. So as you are, make me a nature roll for this one. Okay.
I'm really not liking
I'm
these
so
whole
sorry, that
rolls.
is-
Roll
the
20 is
worst.
being a butt. I don't know what's up with it today.
It really is. It's like, alright, I'm fine with a few bad rolls, because then I'll get some good rolls, but this is just
It's
all
all
bad
bad.
rolls.
It's just more bad rolls.
Yeah.
Just more bad rolls.
It-
And I don't want to waste all of my persona when it's already so bad. It's like,
That's fair.
can't really get back from that.
Okay. So, the good news is your roll isn't horrifying. It is a failure, but it isn't a terrible failure. So, you don't find any written words for sure. It's possible there might be something scattered around here, but you can't really tell precisely how much paper these people might have even had access to. It's very likely that, given the state and conditions of this place, if they wrote anything, it might have been on like papyrus or some equivalent of like tamped down reeds.
Oh yeah, I figured they weren't gonna have leather-bound journals
Right.
or textbooks of their history, but then just a scrap paper with some notes on it or something carved into the door.
The problem with writing on papyrus in this instance, or at least their mouse equivalent, their very impoverished knockoff version, is the fact that it rots very quickly when exposed to water and the elements. And
That's
in this
fair.
particular instance, when you do finally stumble across what looks like it was a desk, and you come to it and you run your hand along the top of the table, your hand very quickly picks up this layer of like goo, and you realize as you do that like there's ink mixed in with it. And so that's probably was at one point a record. Um, However, on the door, you do see the first signs of writing. There's very little left of the door. It's been very heavily eroded. It's almost like it's been sandblasted too much. The wood it was made out of is very dry, almost like a driftwood quality. And as time has gone on, it's only desiccated further. Chunks of it have fallen off. It's probably possible that like even boll weevils or something might have started gnawing at these when there's no one around. And you do see a couple of what appear to be little scratches on there, some kind of runic writing system. It's not quite the language of the mouse guard, but maybe a distant cousin. You could make an etching of it if you want, bring it back to Cedric or to one of the scholarly mice back in the larger group, or even send for one of them to come and meet you guys to consult on this. But
I'm sure, as long as I've got some type of paper and maybe a bit of charcoal, I can just put the paper up, rub the charcoal, get the impression.
yeah, no, absolutely. You probably have at least a little bit of parchment in your pack, given that you're now a captain of the guard, so you do need to have a little bit of like record keeping material on you. And even if you don't have any charcoal on your person, there's a perfectly serviceable fire pit in the middle that still has some charcoal that has, thankfully, after a little bit of rummaging, not been reduced to a slur. So with a little bit of you get an etching very quickly and sort of roll it up. Eventually, you can see what you do find there, however. Well, very little writing. You do find signs that this place was not abandoned willingly. From what you can see going through each of the homes, even considering the advanced deterioration of the terrain and all the structures themselves, you can see pots shattered, earthenware broken, a table that's been clearly splintered from great force that landed on it. You can actually see there's a little iron kettle that's been dented in with what appears to be something sharp. No signs of bodies, besides a single grave behind one of the houses. But that appears to be like it was well lovingly decorated and put in, so it clearly isn't like an amassed affair. Possibly someone who died on this is like their farmstead. Someone who died and had a family nearby to put them to rest. In this instance, what you do find also is no iron anywhere. The one door that you did go in through was leaning on its frame. There, however, is sign of what was once a door frame, and where would have been a spot for door handles. as well as also hinges. Other spots where there's metal as well. The only reason the pot hasn't been taken, you guess, is because it was already pretty rusty by the time that they got here. But everything else, this place has been stripped of metal. All the tools, farm equipment, it's all gone too.
So they're desperate, and they are low on resources. Otherwise, why would you go to simple farmers to fight your battles?
Nearby, you would see Trevor would slowly stand up and look at you. Unfortunately, not all the beast kingdoms are as... They're not all as kind as our Baron Seer. It's very often the case that many of the forces within this place are not upkept permanently, and they rely on levied forces, conscripts.
And that is what we need to put our focus on. The leaders and those in higher ranks are going to be the ones most loyal to the foxes, the ones that have been in service their whole lives, the ones that all they know is war, battle, and servitude. It's going to be the lower ranks, the ones that are forced into this, that will be the ones who might turn and aid us.
I agree. The older, more entrenched forces will be more difficult. We don't often talk about it, but at least amongst the Owl Kingdom, I don't know, have you encountered any of their, the Raptorian Guard yet?
I don't. Are they in line with the snakes?
No, you would not have met them then. I heard that there was a skirmish outside of the city before at Vinecrawl. Oh, right, that was your, the mouse in the kilt. His forces skirmished with them.
Sounds about right.
The Raptorian Guard are elevated above the other mice. A nobility, as it were. This is what the owls will do. They will choose a mouse and they will enthrall them for a grand and incredible service to these owls, whether that be service in battle or other means. In doing so, they gain a small measure of the owl's power. They're given armor and title and a seat at the War Council of the Owls. In exchange, they are bound magically. And he holds his hands up and draws like a line underneath his eyes and around it. And you can see the makeup he wears, which very much mimics a bird's face, like a bird's beak. But the way he does it, it's very clearly a barn owl. Lines of blood are drawn. Oaths are made. I don't even know if they're mice anymore. I wouldn't be surprised if the foxes do something similar. Old beasts have old magic.
There may be those who are sadly beyond saving, but we will do what we can to liberate all, and if we can help these mice regain some type of nature and I don't want to say humanity because they're not humans, but for lack of a better term, humanity, then mouse sanity.
Sense of self.
We will do that if possible.
He nods. The nearby Thom gestures. Hey, is that just me, or do I see somebody coming through the reeds out there? And you can see, when he points out, a group, like a little mouse, come bounding towards you, wearing a familiar cloak and wielding an eel dagger. And he's waving his hands very much like hey, guys, is anyone here? And like literally just looking for you guys.
I immediately signal to my boys, like, hey, something's going on. Be on the alert. Not full on, we're gonna fight, but be ready. So I don't know what's going on, but
it's fair.
I will wave to Cole and not too loudly yell, "Over here!"
He would nod and scurry over, and you would see his normally beautiful orange cloak is caked in gray mud. He is just like literally almost hard to the touch from like the amount of caked on clay on him. Even his warhammer is like at this point normally shiny and brass, like just dull and brown from all the dirt on it. And he just stands up, and when he does, there's a little crunching sound as chunks of clay come off of him. We think we found a hunting party of the fox's mice ahead. They're luring them back around. Dukan and his weasels. And they'll meet back where we departed from earlier. He told me to have you... Oh, I've been running for a while. To have your forces gather. Where we left off. Do you have any water?
Catch your breath. Give him my flask, and while he's drinking, I'll take my own cloak and start wiping some mud off his face and shoulders.
Thank you. And he just like drains like half your water skin and hands it back to you. It's a big force. We think if we can get them back there, we can draw them into pitched battle. That, or we can at least try. The way that they're moving, we might be able to get back to the camp before they're upon us.
So you suspect they already know of us?
I don't know if they know about the larger group, but they definitely know about Dukan and his force ahead. The mud is giving away our position, and they unfortunately spotted us before we could spot them.
I can't risk them seeing the camp and then escaping, so we will get into formation. You catch your breath and catch up with us, or return to your party, whichever you see fit.
I'll stay with you. Dukan knows what to do. All right. So, we now are going to get into the fun part of the game, where first I'm going to ask, do you guys need a break or anything?
Do you, Natalie?
Okay, right now.
I'm pretty good too. All right. So, you guys are getting ready. Actually, we'll use this one. This one's a good one. So you guys are going to be trying to lure a force into not quite a trap, but into pitched battle. So here's how this is going to work. Dukan, I'm going to want you to give me a scout roll. Okay. Sienna, for you, I'm going to want you to make me either Pathfinder roll, which you can use rocky terrain-wise, or flash flood-wise, whichever the two you'd like. Or you can use a health roll, whichever of the two you would like. So health or Pathfinder?
I'll do Pathfinder and Flash Flood. I haven't done Flash Flood in a while.
Okay.
Oh, wait, I didn't have to expend that because Bond gave us some. Thank you, Bond. Yeah, I exploded my 6s. And then I got 2 more 6s, which exploded. Sick.
That's great. All right, nice. So, that's good rolling on your part. Both of you two get successes. It's when it matters, right? That's how it goes. So, here's what these rolls were for. You two are trying loosely to indirectly sort of like gather your forces to coordinate through word of mouth through one party in between. So you're trying to basically create a trap for these guys to lure them into a pitched fight. This was to determine, one, Dukan, if you can try to sneak away fast enough, or rather get ahead of these guys fast enough to loop back to meaningfully get into a position where you can get into combat. Yeah. Whereas your role, Natalie, was to determine whether or not you and your forces could get back swiftly enough to really start laying this attack out. Both of you succeeded. So, we're going to do something we haven't done yet in this game, but I'm excited for. So, for those of you who've been watching the work that I've been doing on the rule smithy, which I do every morning before we do Mouse Guard, Not trying to plug my own stuff, but, at the same time.
Plug it
I have been working on warfare for Mouse Guard.
Oh, snap.
So, we have ourselves a warfare map. For those of you who are unfamiliar with MCDM warfare, you have unit cards and a battlefield, and you put your dudes on the battlefield and move them across the table. So, at this point, you two can choose which. You guys will be choosing the bottom on this area, or you taking the bottom, representing your forces. You will be able to organize your troops however you would like. I will quickly draw a little bit of terrain for you guys. But given what we are dealing with here, moment, I want to make sure this is working. Good. Okay. So, at the moment, you can see there's large copses of trees. Hopefully this will work properly now. Here we go. Where I'm drawing them right here. This is effectively impassable terrain. So, doodly-doodly-doo. As I do terrible, weird sketches because this isn't letting me properly fill it out. So these 4 and these 4 are heavy, dense terrain, effectively impassable to any unit that has a size of 6 or more. Anything smaller than that can fit through pretty decently. And on your end, you can see a copse of trees taking these 3 spaces up in your center and reserve rank. And a group of trees over here between these. I will let you guys deploy your forces before these guys get here. Given your roles, I'm going to give you access to a fair few of your troops. So, we have the shot mice for Sienna, which I'll put here, and I will give access to Sienna so you can control these. So this should be controlled by Sienna, all players. Huzzah, thank you. Much appreciated. The Bonds Mice will be controlled by you guys as well. So these are yours. You guys can basically put whatever you want wherever you want it. You have a unit of archers as well, so I will grab a unit of these guys for you and copy and paste that. There we go. The archers are yours, Derek.
Cool.
The spear mice are yours, Natalie. And then you also have the war weasels up here on the front in the vanguard rank. Those are yours, Derek. And we should also have the Cyanid shield bearers. Should be here as well. So I'm just going to very quickly grab those dudes. Here we go. Cyanid shield bearers. As I grab and expand this. Okay. Here we go. And I will make sure these are properly controlled by each of you guys.
Cool.
Alrighty. So all players. I'm still adding the player controls on all these. So. Un momento, por favor. Let's see. Here we go. Alright. Everything should have the controls. You guys do not have any restrictions on where you can place these things right now. They are anywhere you would like. In terms of the forces being arrayed against you, I can now let you know what you're up against. So, I'm going to scroll up here a little bit. Copy. You're going to be going against a number of Bonds Mice. Who are basically making the core of this force. A unit of Bow Mice.
This is such a good-looking warfare table, dude.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I worked on this for quite some time.
I'm very, very impressed.
Oh, dude, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm hoping I can do more of these in the future for different settings and games. I think that'd be fun.
Hell yeah.
I'll add an extra unit of Bonds Mice here. And then finally, the unit of Insectrists.
Uh-oh.
These dudes right here. So, very simply put, rules aren't going to be too far off of what you're used to in most of your warfare systems. The big difference, which I will call up by pulling up a unit of, in this case, we'll go with one of your units just to make things easier on us. Let's say Sienna Shield Bearers as an example. I will call attention to you guys for this. So, Mouse Guard Warfare is pretty similar to MCDM normal warfare. And as a result, we're going to fight Bonds Mice. Oh no, that wouldn't be good. So, unlike in MCDM, you don't have a power roll and you don't have a defense roll. Pretty straightforward otherwise. Your attack rolls are just like your normal combat rolls. You roll a pool of d6s equal to the number of whatever's there. Depending on whether it's militarist, hunter, or whatever, or science, I might give you guys a different benefit, depending on what you're hunting. So hunter will be good for hunting larger beasts or smaller animals. Militarist is good for, like, normal martial combat. And you would still choose attack, defend, maneuver, and feint for your actions. You might have noticed there's a modus operandi there. Modus operandi is very simple. You can directly command up to, for each of you two units directly. These units you can give orders to, and they will do whatever the hell you want. You can change them from round to round. It's up to you. However, if they're not directly under your command, they need to make a command check, which is rolling a number of d6 equal to the command value. If they succeed, they'll do what you want. If they fail, they'll resort to their modus operandi, which means if they're going up against other dudes and they make an action that takes advantage of whatever their choice is, they are going to be boned. So it's very much a case of picking and choosing what you might want to use or have them do. So as an example, Sienna, your forces have surprisingly high morale and surprisingly high command. Pretty good. Means that you can more or less leave mice alone to do their own thing. Likewise, they also have the adaptable rule, like all mice do, which means they can reroll morale and command tests. That includes for taking orders. Mice are very versatile, and they're very good at taking orders in this instance. Whereas, on the other hand, the Expedition War Weasels, led by Dukan, who, I love Dukan, he's a wonderful bean. Unfortunately, Dukan's people are not very well known for taking orders, and tend to rule through force of will.
We have poor discipline.
Yes, they are very poor discipline. As a result, your War Weasels have a command rating of 1. That is 1 die, 50-50 that they'll accept orders. Furthermore, they also have, as opposed to adaptable, the Savage rule, which means that every time they attack, if they successfully do it, they cause 2 additional casualties to a unit. Those guys will mince through units, but they're also dumb as rocks, and you probably need to micromanage them.
Yeah.
So,
They're the heavy shock troops.
pretty much. So you guys now know the basics of the modified Mouse Guard warfare. Basically, each unit will be in a rank. That rank will do its own thing. And you can more or less move them just like you would normally. You would move them 1 square per. I'm gonna imagine you want the War Weasels in the front rank there. I've also gone and added an extra reserve rank because personally I think that the battlefields in MCDMs are a little crowded, so I kind of like having a little more space to maneuver. And allow me to also put terrain and stuff without like making it ridiculously crowded. I also have access right now for you guys. If you'll notice, right below your player characters, you'll see the Mouse Guard Warfare cards. That should all be accessible to all of you, and should include all your tier 1s, all your tier 2s, and it should also have your tier 3s as well.
Nice.
So you can readily and more immediately access and see what is available and where. As far as enemy units, I will reveal them as they make contact with you. So, we have Crayon Eating Titan and Goofy Hunter Mice. Yeah, pretty much. That's a pretty good accurate thing. Also, you'll probably notice I have disabled the grid, as there's like no way to properly like grid it out. So you can sort of control it, move it wherever you want. Just make sure they are in a particular line. They're on one of these rows.
Can they can enemies squeak past us, like diagonally speaking?
Yes, enemies can squeak past you diagonally to try to outflank you if you would like, or not like. Really, that's how it goes. It's just like an MCDM warfare. there is nothing holding you locked in combat. There is no like disengagement roll that you need to make. If you want to move a unit away, they withdraw or move past enemy units just as per normal. And you can only attack units that you are adjacent to at 90-degree angles. So you can't ping a unit that's diagonally across from you. You need to share a facing with them.
Which one are my archers, by the way?
Your archers are the only mouse guard archers you have, the green ones.
Okay, cool. I do not have control of them.
Oh, okay. I will fix that right now. It should be... Oh, yeah, of course, the one unit that was not given that. There we go.
Thanks, buddy.
No problem. You control also your unit of bonds mice. That represents your torch mouse leading his bonds mice.
Yeah.
So that would be your
Can they fight diagonally?
They actually are interesting. Your shot mice and your bonds mice are both artillery units.
Oh, the bonds.
So they are archers, effectively.
Oh, sheesh. Okay, well, then I know what
except
I'm
the
gonna
shot
do.
mice. The shot mice aren't even... They are just straight up artillery. They're not even archers. They do full damage when they hit someone at range.
The
So-
bonds mice do that?
The bonds mice are archers. The shot mice are the full-on artillery.
Oh, got it. Now I understand. Okay. In that case, Natalie, you might consider putting your shot mice right here because that is impassable terrain for the bigger guys, and they are they are size 4, so they can fit in there.
I mean, I had it set up the way
Okay.
that I wanted,
I'm gonna put mine
and then you came over here, so now my...
Okay,
Yeah, we
there
need
you
to
go.
consolidate. We don't have a whole lot of room to maneuver here, so we need to consolidate as best that we can. They can try to go diagonally. So if we go here, you may wish to move your spear mice forward. Otherwise, you're leaving your shot mice wide open to a flank.
I had everything set up based on where you originally had your stuff.
I just had mine set there because I didn't know what I was going to do yet. I just wanted it to where I could see everything. Sorry, my Total War Warhammer brain is kicking in. Like 1,000 hours in those games.
You're good.
I think I'm good with that.
Okay. If you are both okay with this, I am ready to begin combat when you are ready. All right. So, we begin. Normally, we would be doing a roll-off to see who goes first. However, Dukan, you've managed to get back to the rendezvous point along with you, Sayana. Sayana, you managed to get there ahead of time and rallied forces and begin to organize a pretty reasonable strategic organization of how to get these guys in the position where they'd be best suited and all that. So, off behind you, by the way, just to make this abundantly clear as to where the road is, I will freehand this into a nice shade of gray. Back here is the road you all came off of. So, this is literally right off the road before you're getting to it. So, once you organize these forces into the little brush area, the sort of prairie scrubland slightly off the road, a couple of minutes later, you see Dukan and his war weasels come running up. And behind them, visible in the distance, you see a number of these mice all wearing these bright orange, like furry cloaks, basically. All comprised of what appears to be fox hair, but other things as well from time to time. Like, it looks like various mammalian predators as their gear and equipment. And as they come sauntering forward, you hear in the distance a sound as they begin to rally their troops, and some start to move forward. You guys get the first round of combat. So what do you do? And again, you have to choose 2 units that you will each directly control. So who wants to go first, selecting which unit?
Up to you, Natalie. Oh, Grimwood Games, thank you for the raid of a party of 6. Thank you so much. Welcome in, Raiders.
Bell?
I definitely want to control my shield bearers this round.
Okay. I'm marking your controlled units in red, by the way.
Okay. And Guess we'll do the owl. Sorry, everything's so small I can barely read. Gotta keep zooming in more. Owl shot mice.
Okay, no problem. All right, I'll mark those in red too. Also, in case if you need the actual stats for your units, because I realize it is very small, you actually do have access to them over here. I will grab the owl ones because these ones are a little weird for you. I will share these both with you guys, so you have immediate access to their stats. So that's the bonds mice and the shot mice. So you guys can minimize those by clicking on the top left if you want to. You can do the same thing with the other units, which, Sienna, your shield bearers are right here. No problem. And you also have spear mice right here. And as for you, Derek, your war weasels and your archers as well, which you saw the shot mice, those are your owl infantry auxiliaries. And I think that's everything that you guys have under your command. Yeah, spear mice, archers, shield bearers, war weasels, bonds mice, and shot mice. Yep, so you have 6 different units, and those should be all their stats. So if you need to refer to them, that's probably easier than squinting across the battlefield. The bigger enemy units I will reveal to you as they come into contact. So you've chosen your shot mice and your shield bearers. Dukan, which units are you taking control over, and what color would you want?
I'm also going to control my my archers, and I'm going to. I don't. I'm going to control the. Oh, I don't want to go get overwhelmed. It doesn't really matter what the secondary one is because I'm probably just going to be defending. So I have to control the weasels because they will not defend.
Yeah, they're kind of dumb. They will literally just charge in and maul whatever they can see. Okay. So, Dukan, I'm going to mark your dudes in... I'll make them in orange, just so it's a little more obvious compared to the green of the mouse guard banners. Okay. So, now that we have done that, perfect. All right, the enemy commander is not particularly skilled and only has tier 1 units, which means they can only choose 1 unit to directly control. So they're going to choose... they'll choose the insectorists. All right. So, now that we have done that, and I'll mark that in a color that's not orange, let's make them, I don't know, blue, just to make it stand out. There we go. That's better. All right. So then, you guys get to move your units one by one and declare actions, just like in MCDM combat. In this case, when you're making attacks, you do the same thing you do in normal mouse guard combat. You choose attack, defend, maneuver, and your feint. Those are your 4 options. Movement does not require your roll. They will obey a movement command. They get the idea of which direction they're going. It's what they do when they get there that depends on your command rolls. So go ahead, folks, and move your forces one at a time. Let me know what they're doing each. Whoever wants to go first.
Up to you, Natalie. I'm probably going to just try some bullshit, to be honest with you.
I'm going to have my shield bearers defend. And spear mice maneuver. I'm wanting to have them only attack if we get attacked. So they're just kind of more trying to keep the others at bay and not get hit themselves.
Okay, so are you moving the shield bearers of the spear mice further forward, or are you leaving them where they are?
I'm gonna leave them where they are.
Okay.
Actually, no, I will move them forward. I have an idea.
Okay, so the shield bearers aren't in combat technically yet. They have not been directly engaged. You need to be in flat face to a flat face to do it. But they are there, and they are under your direct control. So if a unit engages them in combat, they will defend if you choose that. So that's their action done. So then you wanted to move the spear mice forward, I believe you said?
No, I want them to stay there. But they're just taking the maneuver action. Like I said, I don't really want them to attack or take any casualties either.
You don't need to worry about issuing an order whether they attack or defend or any of that unless they are engaging with an enemy unit. So they are not quite there yet. You're just having them stay there, so no worries until combat begins and they're forced to make a roll.
Sounds good.
All right. I imagine then that you are probably leaving your shot mice right where they are. Did you want to use them to attack anybody? They are artillery, and if they use their maneuver action, they basically have a crazy gun that they can shoot anybody on the table with.
Do it. It's free real estate. If you don't do it now, you're not going to be able to do it later.
I guess I will do it with the excuse that it's not Sayana who's calling the shots for them, per se, because she would not want to attack first. She's very much like, if there's a way we can talk our way out of this and not have to.
Do you want to wait until I charge in with my weasels to shoot so it alleviates your conscience?
Yes.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay, that's perfectly fair. Yeah,
Although
your forces have your forces are trusted to, do their own thing as well. So technically the shot mice are under Trevor's control, and Trevor is far more ruthless than you are.
That's what I figured. I was like, I know logically it would make sense. I just don't like Sayana being like, attack, when they haven't attacked us at all yet. So Trevor doing that is fine.
Okay. Who did you want Trevor to have them attack with then?
Probably the bonds mice that are closest to the shield bearer.
Okay, so these dudes right up here?
Warning shot, so like, you come any closer and we'll give it to you.
Okay, so in order to shoot, that would be a maneuver action because that's how you use bows and mouse guard.
Okay.
So, okay. Whereas on their end, their action at this range would probably only be to defend. So, using the mouse guard rules, and thank you, by the way, Grimwood, for the compliment. I very much appreciate it. Doing my best with what I got, and I love this system. It's really fun. So, looking at what we have here, given the type of conflict we've got, we are looking at, okay, so defend versus a maneuver, we have versus roll. So, they have Militarist 3, and I don't believe they have any major buffs to doing that. Yeah, not really. So I will show you. You are targeting Vulpine Bonds Mice. They are light infantry, tier 1, regulars. They're kind of chumpy. It's sort of their job here. They're actually at -1 to defend and feint. So they're rolling only 2 dice. Versus your shot mice. So Owl Empire shot mice are quite terrifying. So you have a base 4 for your hunter. You get a further 2 to hitting targets at range. So in this instance, that would be a roll of 6 at this point. So 6v2. Whoever wins, that's the amount of damage they do to the other. So that's the Vulpine mice.
Oh, come on, you stupid roll 20.
It's
I've had 2 good rolls tonight, and the rest have all been bad.
I'm sorry. You do have a lot of persona right now to do rerolls if you'd like. And those ones aren't getting any worse.
But I mean, that's 3 1s.
You would need
right now you are at 0 successes, and they are at 1 success.
Yeah. I think I should save it.
Alright, that's perfectly fair. Given that you're currently in cover, they don't act well. 1, they're not able to damage you back. You're shooting them. This is just how successful your dice roll is to hurt them. So these mice sort of scatter as pew, pew, pew. You see these shot mice. You finally see how they use their bows, which are very big. They're like basically the size of like an anti-personnel sniper rifle, where they're these huge honking things, like practically half the size of a person's body. But to fire them, they don't hold them up and shoot them from the shoulder. They actually take these things and put the strangely shaped stock on their chest grab the handles and use their feet to brace it, and lean back and fire like
That's awesome.
mortars. And after the you see these things go shooting out, and the mice, you just hear them shout, "Rock! Scatola!" And they all scatter, and 4 of these darts hit the ground. One of them barely gets out of the way as this thing flies through and cuts a chunk of their cloak off, but they're otherwise okay. So, no damage done this time, but they're quite terrifying. Like, if they hit, they'll fuck these guys up really bad.
You did say you wanted a warning shot.
That is a warning shot. That is 100% a warning shot.
That's what Sayana yells. Surrender! We don't wish to harm you, but we will if you don't put your weapons away.
All right. All right, Derek. It's on you, buddy. What do you want to do?
So I want to use my archers to light up these Vulpine Bonds mice and make them shiny so that we can come in and bop them easily.
Okay, so those would be the Bonds mice that would be doing that. So if there's
that's
if
the
they
Bonds mice that do that. Oh, I see.
Yeah,
I see.
because those are the ones that are led by your dude. Those are the ones led by.
See, the card
yeah.
explains how it functions.
Yeah, you're good. Yes, it's all right. So, fun fact: the highlighting ability isn't actually on the card. It's a force multiplier that you get. So think of it as like the kingdom's abilities that you would have. This particular one, whoever the Bonds mice target, anyone else targeting that unit will gain a further 1 die.
Okay, cool.
In addition to that,
Then
so you're targeting which of these Bonds mice?
So let me ask you this. I forgot already. Can we attack diagonally or only straight forward?
You can attack. You can only attack on straight facings, but your Bonds mice are archers.
Archers, so they can attack at any range. I was asking about for my weasels.
For your weasels, they had to be flat on. They'd be flat on.
Is it cool if I switch over to my Bonds mice instead of the archers?
Yeah, by all means. I figured that's what you meant. Yeah.
Cool.
You choose the turn. You choose your activation. You're good.
Cool. Then I'm going to have my Bonds mice fire at these boys.
Okay. So that's going to be 3 plus 1 extra die as well. So as I open this stat up.
Oh, loud.
Okay. So let's see. Versus their... Oh my god. So that's 3 dice. That's pretty nice. Versus their, again, 2 dice because they only have halberds, and halberds aren't particularly useful. Technically, they're like really just big hunting spears, but halberd is close enough. It won't exactly help them against arrow fire. Right. Nope, not in that instance. So that is, because these are archers, they can only do 1 casualty per roll. However, they are absolutely pinged. So, we will get those guys a lovely 5 on them to indicate that you have in fact hit the crap out of them. Because you have. So I'm going to go into their stats. They are now at 5 out of 6 for their unit.
Wonderful. And then the weasels charge.
Okay. So your war weasels run forward, and I assume they're being led by you, directly. So you can hear you can hear Squeeb and Grumble running forward with these giant like war maces and axes. This horrifying collection of blades. As these 3 weasels bum rush this group of 12 mice, of whom like 2 of them sort of got like hit with bows and arrows, and they kind of fell down pretty quickly. Actually, it doesn't look like the arrow actually killed them. Maybe poison killed them. But it's the glowing splash of bright blue liquid that illuminates a group of like 3 of them in the front, who then look up and see you charging. So I'm assuming you're making an attack roll against them,
100%,
correct?
Yeah.
Okay. They are 100% going to try to meet you in that attack. We'll just see whether or not they're capable of it. This is going to be interesting. So I just want to make sure I got this right. Okay. So they're going to try to attack. They need to make a command roll. If they succeed, they don't succeed. They get adaptable. They get to roll again. They do succeed on the adaptable reroll. So they do get to receive their order. They will attack, which means that they are not going to just sit there and take it, because when you attack a fainting target, they just get their asses beat. So, rolling that out, you're going to have... Let's take a look at the giant pool of dice your unit gets, because it's pretty extreme from your War Weasels, as I recall. Okay, so they have 6 dice to begin with. Their axes gain you an additional success after any successful attack. And furthermore, any successful attack does 2 extra casualties. So effectively, if you succeed on this roll, they gain an extra 3 casualties on top of whatever you rolled. Plus, you're getting an extra die from them getting hit by the goo. So that's 7 dice versus their 3 dice. And they get a successful attack. And you just... Wow. Okay, so 3 successes. It keeps going if you want to keep blowing it up.
I don't need to spend the stuff for it. I'm gonna bank it in case I need it, because unless it's gonna make a significant difference in the amount of damage that I deal to them.
Not real. It could be the difference between killing the unit outright and well, they might still. They probably will.
Yeah, they have to get diminished. They're gonna be diminished.
Yeah, they have a morale of 1. So, yeah, that's fair.
Odds.
So, looking at the difference in rolls that you have, they have no successful attack, unfortunately, versus you. Actually, no, these are independent rolls. These are not versus. So they do attack you back. They do manage to do 3 points of damage back to you, as these guys all put their blades on and they all try to stab at you. And a couple of them find purchase and sort of scrape up Squeeb a little bit.
Not my
but
Squeeb.
in return, you do 1, 2, 3. That's success. Plus a further 3 success, which is 6, which wipes the unit out. So describe, how do you murder these guys with your weasels?
Oh, we just charge in. It is a massacre. Like literally just rushing over their bodies. That's how the spears get into us, because like we just don't stop. We pound all the way through the unit, just crushing as we go. Yeah, there's just trampled bodies in our wake.
You get about like 1 second of this almost comic scene of the mouse in the front, who normally is this orange fur with a bright like white face paint on, like a fox's face, covered in this bright neon cyan, like some kind of weird like mushroom fungus glow juice. Just looks down and looks up, and you just see this horrifying shadow of Dukan and the axe. And we cut away so that the rating stays like, rated R and not NC-17. But the next couple of seconds is fantastic violence on a scale of which most mice can't comprehend. Do you want to follow up with that attack? Because you did wipe them out. So you can press forward. If you make a morale check, you can totally do that.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to absolutely do that.
Okay. So that's 2 dice. You're looking for a success.
Oof. Unfortunately.
All right. Yeah, it's all right. Your boys are very much busy cleaning
Probably
up
enjoying the slaughter a little bit too much.
Yeah, pretty much. Gremble and Screeb are fantastic murderers. They are not very good soldiers, and after that immediate like wiping out, they're probably like, I don't want to get too graphic about it, but they are predators, and that was prey. But also, there's a couple of them like you can see for sure it's less Squeeb doing the eating and more Squeeb doing the pilfering as he's taking blades and shiny metal bits off the many different like dead. And it's probably like all your character can do to shout these idiots into your control. So you have used your Bondsmice, you have used your War Weasels. What are you doing with your archers?
I thought we only activate 2 units per round.
No, I'm letting you guys do it all at once.
Okay.
So.
I'm going to have the archers fire upon the insectrists.
Okay. All right. So that's going to be a maneuver roll. They themselves will be making a maneuver roll themselves.
Is that 3d6 or 4d6?
Actually, you know what? They're going to make a defend roll. In this instance, for you, it would be it'd be, given the fact that you're using these archers, the archers themselves have 3 dice plus 2 dice to maneuver targets are in, so it's 5 dice total.
Oh, Pog. Cool.
In this instance. And they
not cool.
Yeah. I was going to say they'll be making a defend roll. They are under the direct command of the enemy commander, so they don't need to make a morale check or a command check to do what they got to do. So, looking at what they have, the Insectrists aren't quite as they're not quite as schmoey as the other folks. And also, at the start of this battle, they had chosen someone to follow, a quarry, as it were, that they have chosen to hunt. They have chosen the War Weasels as they were tracking you. So, that doesn't affect them in this instance. They're making a defense roll, which is Hunter 4. So they make 4 dice roll. See what they get. Wow. Everyone's rolls just suck. So the question isn't, did you both fail so hard that you got no successes? I believe so. You're both a -1 success. Yeah, so the archers, still in like that brush, pull back and you hear that as they pull back on their little strings, and then a shh as the wind blows by, and the reeds that they're in all begin to hit them in the face right as they're pulling their bows back. You just hear as they're spitting out dandelion fluff. And on the other side, you can see the Insectrists all get ready to move as they see these archers sighting them up, and the wind blows and dandelion puffs roll past them. And a number of the beetles that they have on these chains all go chasing after the puffs. And they all like lean in to hold them back. So buddies and Loathe Your Forces do like nothing for a couple of seconds.
Happen.
So the adversary forces, it's time for them to do their thing. So the Bonds Mice will move forward.
Did Natalie not move up her Spear Mice?
No, I believe, yeah.
I left them there.
Yeah. Sayana chose to leave them as a rear line, which is probably not a bad idea. The Bonds Mice over here can't move into that terrain because of the forest. So they have to watch their buddy here, the Insectrists, as they charge forward, sprinting, gunning for the Weasels, who are, at the moment, a little dinged up, as I recall.
Yeah, we took 3.
Yes. So they're going to attempt to attack you. So they're going to have 5 dice to attack you. What's your action in return?
We have toughness 3, so I'm going to defend.
Okay. So here's the funny thing. Toughness in this system is just straight up damage reduction. That's right, it's damage reduction.
So we didn't take that 3?
You took 0 damage altogether.
Oh, Pog, then we're going to fucking attack, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, wait a second, I'm surprised I took much damage. Right, toughness. Yeah, guys, don't forget, I had to literally like rewrite a quarter of
Max
Maxwell's rules. All right. So yeah, okay, so it's attack v attack. So that means they're rolling 5 dice. You're rolling 6 dice, 7 dice. 7?
Nope, it's 6 because they were blue.
Yeah, they weren't marked. You wiped the marked dudes out already.
Yeah. So 6.
So yes, so 6 dice, and if you succeed, you're going to do a further 3 casualties to them. So let's see. This is
gracious.
This is independent dice rolling too. So you both maul each other. Okay, so that's 2 successes. Hilariously, your toughness just does not care about that. So they do no damage to you as these insects all like they begin sprinting at you, nibbling and gnawing and doing all that terrible stuff. Oh, they actually have 1 extra die because you're the quarry. Hold on. Oh, it's even worse.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's 1 less success for them. Whereas you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes, plus on top of that, you do a further 3 casualties. So, do you want to describe what you're doing?
Yeah, sure. So, Ducon looks over to to Grimble, who I'm guessing is like dragging his big fuck off heavy club forward, like kind of slowly through the muck and mire. And then he like looks over to Squeeb, who he sees just like pilfering, like, "Ooh, this is a nice one." He looks forward to see this charging onslaught of beetles, and he like snaps, making this like weasel sound, and he's like,
"Fight now, pilfer later."
And yeah, it's another just like
With all
the bugs.
It's literally whack-a-mole. Like
Whack-a-beetle.
Yeah, whack-a-beetle. You do actually see at one point, you see Gremble, you see Squeeb go, "See, they're delicious!" And he just whack, and big league like home run hits one with his club and just pop like a balloon. Yeah, they're gone. Well done. The bonds mice next to them. I'm gonna have to make a morale check because holy crap. You're gonna re-roll that because they're adaptable. Oh, they hold it. They hold it mercifully. So they're going to advance up.
Oh, thanks, Nares.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. They're going to move forward, and Sienna, they're going to try to feint against you as these guys all move forward with their spears, and they begin to sort of like lure your troops into like drawing up lines. And as it looks like they're about to hit the front of your troops' lines, they literally all break, begin to scatter, and just sort of like surround your dudes and try to attack. What action are you doing in response?
I guess that's my shield bearers they're attacking, right?
Yes, that's correct.
I had them do the defend in the last action, so I'd like to have them just defend themselves. And if I could also have them maneuver, I kind of want to push the bonds mice to get in between the shield bearers and the shot mice where they currently are.
So you would need to do either defend or maneuver. And if I can make a recommendation,
maneuver.
Yes, I was going to suggest that because as the way the rules work in Mouse Guard, feinting versus defending, defender doesn't even test. The feinters just do damage. So maneuver is probably the right move. That would be a versus test for you.
Okay.
So actually, no, it's independent in this case. You both will be rolling separately. So at this point, they'll be making their move.
So I think it'd only be 4 since I'm not defending.
Hilariously, they're not even really that great at feinting. Their halberds are great at a lot of stuff, but feinting is not one of them. So they only have 2 dice for this.
We could encircle them.
That's what I'm thinking.
You do succeed. So your maneuver sort of basically you're able to do 1 point of casualty damage back to them. You can skin it if you want that your troops aren't trying to kill, but it's enough to sort of like drive one of them off, and they just sort of scatter away from the rest of them as they sort of wash over your dudes with their shields down, not able to really find any purchase. I will let you, because of your role and the way you described, I will let you move them 1 space in any direction you like. So highlight where you'd like them to go.
I don't know how to highlight. I don't know how to highlight on here.
Oh, just hold
want
down.
them to... Oh, okay. Then right here where the red circle is.
Yo,
Roger that.
Red, 20-month resub. Holy shit, bro.
Holy
Oh,
shit,
damn.
dude. Way to fucking go, Red.
Holy
Thank you,
fuck,
buddy.
Love you, man. Thank you so much.
So, these bonds mice wash over you, and your shield bearers kind of all just turn their shields and push them. And it's almost like watching riot footage, where it's just like a bunch of dudes with the plastic shields, and you see people wash up on them and just sort of push them back, and it's just this wave of skirmishing hunters try to throw shields at them, and some of them stick in the shields, others bounce off, and one of your dudes even managed to sort of and like hit one of them so hard you can practically hear the bell ringing in their ears as they go down, with a bloody snoot, and the others sort of like get herded into this position. Very uncomfortably, might I add. In the back rows, these other bonds mice begin to maneuver. As these guys move into the hole left by those earlier ones that got wiped out. And they're going to attempt to attack you directly, Dukan. They're going for the independent attack.
Bye, little mice. Holy shit!
Jesus fucking Christ, Eric. Wow.
Oh god damn.
So that's 3.
Don't kill the lower rank ones.
It's 3. If they succeed, they do an extra 1.
Don't stop throwing themselves on my fucking halberd.
I'm here to try and save some of these mice. You're just
I
killing
said I
them
was
all.
trying to capture one mouse. I also said that Dukan is not above taking on an entire army to capture a single mouse.
I mean, that's fair. They are throwing themselves at you. Like, literally, these bonds mice push forward into where these other mice were. And for a second, like, the one leading mouse ahead of them, this guy with this pretty badass looking, like, mouse with a very thick, like, fox fur cloak and a pair of what appear to be, like, thorns woven into his ears to almost give him, like, longer fox-like shape. And this very cool white face makeup, like, holds his hand up as they enter this place, and it's like a little bit of a fog hanging over the air. Just sort of, what's that smell? In his language. And another one, smells like a slaughterhouse. And then one of them steps down and looks down. By the foxes. And they just see, like, the ground is just red. And then weasels come charging at them.
That's when the halberd comes sinking into the body above him from the sky.
Yeah.
Dukan lands on top of him, goes, "Oh, you look important." Headbutts that one and then just slaughters the rest.
They're poof. They're gone. It's very much.
Dukan's gonna get to the end of the battle, look around, and be like, "Oh crap! Wait, surely one of them's still alive."
I
And
just
he's
did. I just knocked that one out with the skull helmet. I was like, "Oh, he looks important." Bam, bonk, and
Make
then
me a command
I
check
think
with those guys.
weasel headbutting a mouse will kill it, but okay.
I will spend a thingy.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. As you say, you look important, and they start just murdering their way through, and eventually Squeeb turns around and brings this giant, like, mace, and just reflexively around to break this guy. They used to, like, reach out and catch and be like, "No, he's important," and he just, like,
Dukans.
Like,
You just-
grill out to him.
he just, like, sorry, and takes the thing back and goes to start, like, looting the other bodies. Yeah, no, that's pretty much what I was expecting was going to happen with these guys. Good thing you spent that, otherwise that would have been a problem.
Yeah.
The bow mice in the back, however, are getting rather tired of watching you wipe dudes out. They're going to target you with their bows. So, let's see how much they get. So that's 3 plus 2, so it's 5 dice VU. What are you doing for your action?
We can't really do anything other than maneuver to try not to get hit by the bows, right?
It would be basically a maneuver or defend action. Actually, if you maneuver, that's an independent roll. They could still potentially hit you.
Oh shit. Okay, then we'll defend.
Okay. So, looking at your stats now for this, my good friend, and your war weasels. Your war weasels are -1 to defend. So
no.
that means your weapons can't be good at everything.
Yeah,
So
no, of course.
So that's 5 dice for you versus their 5 dice. Oh, you beat them by 1.
That one betrayed them.
Yes, it did. The traitor comes in and removes one of their 6s. As these mice, a little bit more competent than the bonds mice. You get the feeling that these archers are actually kind of the real core of the Fox's Empire's army. These Vulpine bonds mice are throwing themselves at you in waves, like they're being driven forward. But these guys, these archers in the back, who you can see have this, like, their fur isn't red. Their fur is like a gray that they seem to have pulled up. And they have on them these big bows. They're kind of like a Japanese-style bows, where one side is longer than the other. Say what?
The big ones. I'm trying to remember what they're called. I don't want to get it wrong.
I
don't
know. I
remember what
knew
they're
it
called.
earlier this morning. But they draw these things out, and you can see at the back, as opposed to having feathers, they have like a little tuft of red fur hair. They just sort of, and they unleash these things, and you hear as these mice bring bolts down at you. What do you do to defend?
I think it's just that there's so few of us and we're moving across the battlefield so fast. It's just like the fog and everything. It's probably nothing that we are actually doing I don't see what we could do to defend ourselves against it. I'm just going to chalk it up to the elements being against them.
That's fair. Yeah, basically, you guys are tucking and rolling. You're doing the don't hit me. Basically, you're playing dodgeball, and thankfully, yeah,
Running in
yeah,
zigzags.
exactly. Duck, dip,
Serpentine.
dive,
Serpentine.
dodge, and yeah, serpentine. Yeah, exactly. It's duck, dip, dive. God, I can't remember the other 2 Ds of dodgeball. I can't play dodgeball anymore.
Dip, dive, dodge.
Dodge, dip, dive, duck, and dodge. Dodge
That's
twice.
correct. Yes, because it's dodge twice. So yeah, you basically managed to duck and weave out of the way completely. As these arrows come down, and these bow mice in the back just look a little bit more than fairly disappointed. So it's back to you guys at the top.
Roll
Yo,
D5,
a
rating with a party of
8.
8. Thank you so much. Welcome in, Raiders. Welcome in. Thank you so
Welcome
much.
in, folks. Thank you guys so much. Oh my God, so many people watching Mouse Guard makes me
Thanks for the
happy.
follow. Thank you so much for the follow, Roll D5.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, rolled a nat 20, we come to raid. Nice. Alrighty. So I leave it to you. I leave it to you two. Who wants to go first? And I'll let you alternate this time, so you guys don't do too much at once.
You can go first again.
Well, I want to try and get these guys encircled. Actually, if there's some way to push them over here before I move, that would be great. Can I use this spear mice to maneuver
Sure.
to try and push them here?
Let me take a look and see, because you have spear mice. So looking at their stats, see attack actions are versus attack, independent versus maneuvers. So yeah, you could try to maneuver. It wouldn't give you +1 die to maneuver versus normal weapons. So yes, that would work.
Okay.
That would give you 4 dice to do against their. They would probably be attempting, like seeing very clearly, you're trying to pin them into a place. They're going to probably try their best to. I think they'll try to break out. They'll try to attack. So this will be a versus test.
Oh, well, good luck. Finally, a good roll.
There you go.
I suspect they're not going to be breaking out of this, but let's see if they do anyway. This is going to be 4 dice. Nope. Okay, so you would be doing 4 casualties to them effectively, and you'll be able to maneuver them wherever you'd like. Again, you can skin these casualties as taking them. You're not trying to kill them. You're trying to take them hostage. Yeah. So in this instance, that would reduce them down to 1 effective rank size, as you'd be moving them over here, right?
Right here.
Yeah.
And then
okay.
if I can move my spear mice here, that would be perfect.
Absolutely. I'm going to have to make a morale check with them to see if they break completely, because wow,
they were encircled. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they're encircled and they're down to 1 mouse, or I should say, it's 2 mice really. It's the sergeant and like one of his chumps. Holy crow! They hold. The bitter end. you.
Then, since I mean we've got them so outnumbered, do I even really need to roll to just grab them and tie them up?
I would say that would be an attack action. You're just flavoring it as a. Okay. You're flavoring it as like a non-lethal attack action. So, yeah. They are going to again continue to try to attack back. They are ferociously trying not to be cornered. Like at this point, they are literally like grabbing the spears off the unconscious ones and just throwing them at you as they're being encircled, desperately trying to stave you all off. Okay. So that's a wash actually. So no success, no failure. As these guys are both like literally as you're trying to like cordon them in, they're just like throwing spears to keep your troops at bay. It's not that you don't have them horrifically outnumbered. It's that they're so dangerous that your troops are trying to safely approach.
I'm willing to roll another dice if it means it'll.
By all means.
Avoid all that.
Okay.
I feel like it's. They're so tired and worn out. So come on.
You do have rerolls, don't forget. You do have rerolls as well. At this point, you guys have 3 floating dice, I believe. 3 floating fate points you can use. And I'm not going to lie, there's not going to be anything better to use them for right now.
I got it. I got
You
a
just
4,
neutralized it
so-
because the first one was a 1. You need another success.
Yeah, there you go.
That doesn't count. That was me. Oh. Yeah.
That was you re-rolling it, was
Shoot.
what you were doing, right? Yeah.
Oh, we have rerolls. Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, you guys had a bunch of re-rolls in the chat. Yeah, so that was a re-roll for the 1. So
Okay,
if that's the case, then yeah, that's
I have 3 successes.
that's success. Yeah. So yeah, that's enough. That pushes it over their threshold. As these guys have no toughness, as you might have noticed, because they're wearing like no armor at all. It's fur and that's it. So, who are you doing that with again? That was your shield bearers?
That's right.
Okay, yeah. So, describe how your shield bearers come in and pacify these 2 dudes.
I'm honestly kind of picturing it like a toddler, like throwing things where it's just like bouncing off their shields, like having no effect on them. And the shield bearers just come up, encircle them, and, you know, they're just able to get in there, grab their weapons, take them away. They'll even, you know, knock them out if they need to before tying them up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like you can see the war chief that's leading them just practically foaming at the mouth in fury, throws himself at one of your dude's shields. And again, mouse shields are not like they're not like these little they're not like these bucklers or small kite shields, smaller kite shields. These are big tower shields. And this guy just runs up and throws himself the shield, and the guy just like opening a door into his head. And he just falls back onto the ground, grabbing his nose, cursing in some language you don't understand. As the other mice all step forward, take out rope, and, just and the other one just sort of looks up, holding a spear, and just Rikata, Rikata, no more. And he just holds his hands out, ready to be arrested. He's not interested in dying today. They are wiped out.
Motions to the guards to knock out the leader. I don't want to deal with him at all. Like, I don't want to kill him, but, you know, just...
Oh, yeah, no.
He's
like,
gonna take a little nap for right now.
Yeah, no, like, he starts fighting back as, like, 3 of your shield bearers, like, move in, and, like, you hear scrabbling, and then you hear bonk, 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 as they're literally just, like, knocking him unconscious. It's very much a go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep situation. But eventually, like, you can see he's been lashed up sufficiently where he's not able to attack yet. Okay, I'm gonna make a morale check on this end here. Because... Yep, nope. In the distance, you can see the archers watching all of this from around the forest. And they just take one look at all this that's happened. All the carnage with the war weasels in advance. What happened to the other bonds mice. And they all just take their bows, put them away, and disappear into the brush behind them. They bail, 100%.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
Hell yeah.
I gotta say, like, good stuff, guys. Good stuff. That was
Hell yeah. We mulching, boys.
that was success if I ever heard.
Roll20 tried to stop us. That was the real enemy tonight.
True.
Yes, Roll20 was the great adversary. So as quiet slowly settles and the clashing of shields and spears and the sickly crunching sounds from where the weasels are eventually slowly blow over with time. Eventually, you guys gather your forces, and Dukan, I assume you are holding on to the war leader. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Took all
Whereas
this stuff.
Sayana, your shield bearers literally have, like, the 2 survivors from that unit just, like, encircled, tied in a ring on the ground, as they basically made a wall around them, a hut of shields.
I would like them to tie up the leader of the fox mice and, you know, go bring him back to the main turtle. And then Sayana personally goes up to the lower rank mouse, the one that was like, I don't want any more trouble. And she goes up and says, it's okay. There's no need to fight anymore. I do need to tie you up just as a precaution. And then she'll, like, you know, bind his hands up. And I'll probably bring him directly to the medical tent to tend to any wounds he might have.
That's fair. He doesn't seem to be injured in any real capacity. He surrendered before anything bad happened to him. He saw the writing on the wall. As he surrenders reasonably to your commands and goes off with you or with your forces to the medical tent.
It's more of a show of like, I'm not only not hurting you because you surrendered, but I'm actively making sure you're okay. You know, you can get a bowl of, warm broth there, clean up a little bit.
That's fair. And at this point, as the sun begins to slowly set over this battlefield, and Dukan, you bring your prisoner, and Sunny, you bring your own, the sun sends the last little bits of orange light across the battlefield, or really, what little skirmish you guys had. And a new day dawns as your success of your first battle begins to truly settle in.
Hell yeah.
And I feel like this is a perfect place to end our session for the day.
Hell yeah, dude. I feel like a war leader. Hell yeah.
You guys kicked the crap out of it. It was kind of supposed to be like this is a combat test. This was like a small skirmishing force, so you guys can get used to the warfare. But hopefully it was intuitive enough. You guys seem to get the hang of it pretty quickly.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, you did a really good job of streamlining the changes from it being a D20 based system into Mouse Guard. I think you did a really good job. I like the toughness change too of it just being damage reduction. That's cool.
It seemed to make more sense to me than having like a million checks and having like a roll to hit and a roll for power when the system is just compare your dice and see who did better.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm just really happy with how the map looks because I finished making that today. That was today.
Great.
Seriously, it looks really good.
I will be posting that along with all the cards and everything for this as free stuff. As time has gone on, I'll be uploading this both to my Discord as well as also to Twitter. So if anyone out there is interested in playing Mouse Guard Warfare using MCDM, keep tuned in for that because that's going to be me. But Derek, my friend, thank you as always for letting me run this on your channel. I love playing Mouse Guard with you guys. I turn it back to you, my friend.
Well, thank you for running it, man. I always have such a good time. You're a fantastic GM, and I truly appreciate it, man. I always look forward to Weasel Wednesdays, dude. I know Natalie does too. We always talk about it. So,
thank you.
Definitely.
You made her go out and buy her first TTRPG, which is Mouse Guard. So that's a pretty big deal.
I have it right here.
Yes. Converts. I can't recommend it enough, folks. I'm not sponsored by Luke Crane or David Peterson, but David Peterson has made an incredibly cool world with just this beautiful story and these amazing comics. And the game they've integrated, they basically made the best version, I think, of Burning Wheel. Like, honestly, I think it's the best of all worlds. So I'd recommend checking it out. It's pretty easy to find, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's really fucking cool. Thank you again, Omni. This was so much fun. I love it. Thank you, Natalie, for being here. Where can people find you, Natalie?
I'll be back here this Saturday playing Covet Syndicate with Derek and Omni and some other awesome people. And then the next Saturday, I'll be playing some Covet Syndicate. And then that following Monday, I'll be on Red's channel. It's either VA Redemption or Redemption VA. I never remember what it is.
Redemption VA on Twitch.
Yeah.
Okay, Redemption VA. I'll be there Monday playing in his homebrewed world. Soldiers of Fortune. I remember the name of the campaign this time. And then we'll be right back to Weasel Wednesdays. And that's about it for me.
Well, thank you, baby. I love you. I appreciate you as always. Thank you for being here.
Love
Omni, where can people find you, dude?
Hello, everyone. I'm the last Omnitech, your favorite robot American, and I have so much ADHD that I have to do that outro every time now. You guys can catch me on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/TheLastOmnitech, all one word. And also, you can find me on my Instagram and my Twitter, where I go by the same name. It's pretty easy. I keep the handle the same everywhere. The Last Omnitech, no spaces, all one word. And I do digital art as well as also traditional art. I do world building, art streams, and rule smithing every Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday, as well as also casual hangout streams. Tomorrow will be the Breakfast Club in the morning, where we vibe, chat about what's going on in the TTRPG community, play video games, and talk. I have had a slight unfortunate occurrence. Earlier today, I mentioned it on the rule smithy, but My Xbox controller of 5 years has finally died.
F in chat, boys.
Yeah, a chat has happened. A shortage has happened within it somewhere, and it is not in the battery replaceable. It is dead. So I have ordered a new one. So the real question is, do we play an Xbox game tomorrow, or do I break out Into the Breach and we talk along for about stuff? Probably playing Into the Breach because it's gonna be fun. Other than that, you can catch me every other Saturday running Legacy First Flight, my 20-year-long development cycle TTRPG game, here on DMDM Studios, who I love dearly for this. Thank you very much for letting me run this game the first time ever on your channel. Mouse Guard here every other Wednesday. And then every other Thursday, Wild Skies of Eternia, my Lighter Than Air Pathfinder 2e campaign on my Twitch channel. Other than that, I'll be here on Derek's channel for so many of his games, and I'm here on like Red's channel for like all of his games. Thank you very much, buddy. Much love. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you again. Love you, buddy. So much love. Stick around, folks. We're going to be raiding out into our good friend Rolling Thundiga. They are fantastic beans. But before we do, just in case you didn't know, you can get yourself a custom DMD Studios dice case by going to ko-fi.com/theshadysale. And you can even get, I don't know if they're still doing it, so I'm just going to say the 10% off by using code RPGINN at checkout. If that's wrong and the 20% thing is still going on, then Natisha can correct me in chat. But yeah, they are beautiful. Natisha has all kinds of really fantastic stuff going on over there. She's a professional 3D modeler and printer, so she makes all kinds of fantastic stuff. Check her out. We love Natisha. It is still 20%. Okay, so it is still 20%. Use code RPGINN for 20% at checkout. But yeah, we are going to be raiding out into Rolling Thundiga. You guys can catch me live next on Friday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time with Darker Stars. My new character is going to be making their debut. Can't wait for that. On Saturday at 12:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, Booty, my pirate Pathfinder campaign. Grand old time, getting into some cool shenanigans, and I don't know exactly what's going to happen this session, but I think it might be a drinking like thing. I made a whole bunch of rules and I had to review them today, so that's going to be fun. I had Natalie help me out with those rules. I think they worked out pretty well. And then Covet on Saturday at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Next Tuesday, I will be doing my Lamina test play off stream, so wish me luck for that. Hope that everything goes well. Next Wednesday, you can catch us live with Deathwatch, Kill Team Last Bastion. I made a big map for it today, and I'm very excited because I think it looks very good, and it, even though I used Incarnate, I think it actually still somehow looks kind of faithful to 40k. But I'm excited to torment my players with that. Thank you again for being here. I love you. I appreciate you, and I will see you all very soon. Bye-bye.
Peace.